Chapter 144. As soon as this thought appeared in Jun Haoyin's mind, he quickly rejected it. Even though he had over 200,000 strands of devilish energy within him, it was sufficient to push him into the Emperor realm. However, the Emperor realm wasn't so simple. It couldn't be broken through forcefully by relying on a huge amount of energy. The difference between the Emperor realm and the Yuandan realm was like the difference between the heavens and the earth. The crux of cultivation in the Yuandan realm was to refine the Yuandan and inscribe 10 markings of the heavens and the earth on the Yuandan. However, the Emperor realm was completely different. It could even be said that it was the complete opposite of that. Once one broke through to the Emperor realm, one would have to undergo the test of the Heaven Tao. In other words, the heavenly tribulation. This heavenly tribulation was mainly targeted at the Yuandan. To be more precise, it was a form of tempering for the Yuandan. The heavenly tribulation would deal a destructive blow to the Yuandan. The 10 markings of the heavens and the earth formed in the Yuandan realm would be completely destroyed by the heavenly tribulation. If Jun Haoyin wanted to break through to the Emperor realm, the first thing he had to do was draw the energy of the heavenly tribulation into his Yuandan. He had to allow the heavenly tribulation to destroy the markings of the heavens and the earth he'd painstakingly condensed. Once they were destroyed, a deep crack would be left on the Yuandan. Every time he broke through to the Emperor realm, another crack would appear. At the 10th level of the Emperor realm, 10 cracks would appear on the Yuandan. That was the limit of the Yuandan. At that point, the Yuandan would shatter. Once the Yuandan shattered, a nascent soul would be born. After the Yuandan shattered, a nascent soul would be formed within the cultivator's body. This nascent soul could be directly attached to the body and form a Dharma idol. This realm was naturally the nascent soul Dharma idol realm. It sounded easy, but the process could be said to be extremely difficult. The might of the heavenly tribulation was extremely terrifying. After it descended, it would madly destroy everything. If one didn't control it well, then it was very likely that the entire Yuandan would shatter. That would cause one's body to be heavily injured, and it was even to the extent that one's many years of cultivation might be reduced to nothing. The best outcome was that one's cultivation would drop to the true energy realm, and one would never have any hope of breaking through to the Yuandan realm. The path of cultivation was like sailing against the current, against the waves. The slightest bit of carelessness would cause everything to go to waste. Jun Haoyin was naturally extremely confident in his ability to break through into the Imperial Tao realm. However, he still had to be extremely careful when facing the power of the heavenly tribulation. Therefore, he decided to prepare for a period of time. In any case, he had just broken through and needed to stabilize his cultivation. He believed that very soon, he would be able to withstand the tribulation of heaven and earth. Thinking up to this point, Jun Haoyin began to calm the surging power within his body, preparing to enter seclusion once more. Holy Son, Senior Brother Feng, Senior Brother Dugu, and Senior Brother Baili request an audience. But at this moment, a woman's voice came from outside. It was the same woman as last time. At this moment, Jun Haoyin already knew her name, Lin Luoxue. As an inner disciple, Lin Luoxue's talent was extraordinary. After receiving some elixirs from Jun Haoyin, his cultivation had made a breakthrough. He believed that it wouldn't be long before he could be promoted to the ranks of the core disciples. Got it? Tell them to wait. I'll be there soon. Hearing the voice, Jun Haoyin opened his eyes and said slowly, "Yes, Lord Holy Son." After hearing Jun Haoyin's words, Lin Luoxue said obediently. After Lin Luoxue left, Jun Haoyin didn't delay any longer. He directly stood up and immediately left the cultivation hall, walking towards the reception hall. Sure enough, he saw Feng Xiaoyao and the others in the reception hall. Compared to a few days ago, Feng Xiaoyao and the others' auras were even more powerful now. Especially Feng Xiaoyao, at this moment, his body actually carried a dense wave of the power of the heavenly tribulation. Jun Haoyin estimated that Feng Xiaoyao should be able to enter the Imperial Tao realm at any time. However, this was also within Jun Haoyin's expectations. Feng Xiaoyao and the other two were always at the top of the Langya rankings. Their cultivation had stagnated at the 10th level of the Yuandan realm for decades. This trip to the Sky Devil region had benefited greatly, and they were probably on the verge of a breakthrough. Greetings, Holy Son. After seeing Jun Haoyin, Feng Xiaoyao and the others immediately bowed to Jun Haoyin. Their attitude was even more respectful than before. There are no outsiders here. There's no need to be so formal. Jun Haoyin revealed a trace of a smile and said gently. During the trip to the Sky Devil region, they could be said to have gone through thick and thin together, and they had become familiar with each other. Hearing Jun Haoyin's words, Feng Xiaoyao and the others chuckled. Then Bailey Schwanza walked out and said slowly, "The three of us came here for two things. The first is naturally to thank the Holy Sun for saving us in the Sky Devil region that day and helping us collect the Devil Aura." After Bailey Schwanza finished speaking, Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo nodded in agreement. If Jun Haoyan hadn't lent them a hand that day, they might have perished in the Sky Devil region. Even if they utilized a secret technique to forcefully break through the formation, they would have probably been heavily injured. If it wasn't for Jun Haoyan, they wouldn't have broken through to the Imperial Dao realm. It was already not bad that they were able to maintain their cultivations. "Ha, we're all from the same sect. This is just something that I should do." Jun Haoyan grinned and then he gestured for them to take a seat. Based on his appearance, it seemed like he didn't take this matter to heart. "Alas, it's all because of us that the Holy Sun was exposed to the other hallowed grounds in advance." Meanwhile, Dugu Bo seemed to have suddenly thought of something and he suddenly sighed. "Yeah. I never expected that the various powers would have investigated everything that happened in the Sky Devil region in such a short period of time. The resources and reserves of these great powers are truly unfathomable." Bailey Schwanza sighed with emotion. "Since the battle in the Sky Devil region, Holy Sun, your accomplishments in slaughtering the experts of the four sects by yourself were exposed, and I believe that the Holy Sun and Holy Maiden of the various hallowed grounds have set their sights on you." Feng Xiaoyao frowned slightly and said, "I even heard that the Holy Son of the Azure Cloud Sacred Ground, Dong Bo, declared that he would definitely kill you if he encountered the Holy Sun." In the past few days they'd heard many rumors about Jun Haoyan. At this moment they felt extremely guilty in their hearts. It was all their fault for implicating Lord Holy Sun. It would be fine if it was anyone else because their current strength was sufficient to sweep through the elite disciples of the various hallowed grounds. However, the ones who were targeting Jun Haoyan were the Holy Sun and Holy Maiden of the various hallowed grounds. They were truly helpless against such a figure. "Oh, is that so? It just so happens that I'm also itching for a fight. I'd like to have a good fight with these geniuses of the hallowed grounds." Upon hearing that, Jun Haoyan's face showed no signs of fear. Instead, there was a burning desire to fight. With his current strength, he was not afraid of anyone of the same generation as him at all. "By the way, didn't you say that there were two things? What's the other thing?" Seeing that the three of them were about to say something, Jun Haoyan interrupted them and changed the topic. Upon hearing that, Feng Xiaoyao's face turned serious again. Some time ago, there was a strange movement in the Shenyuan Supreme Relic in the northern part of the eastern wilderness. It is said that the Supreme Relic will be opened soon. Shenyuan Supreme Relic? Upon hearing that, Jun Haoyan immediately revealed a look of contemplation. The Wuxian continent had a long history and naturally, there had been many supreme martial artists among the human race. The owner of the Shenyuan Supreme Relic was naturally a supreme martial artist. Even in the entire Wuxian continent, the number of supreme relic that had been unearthed was less than 5. The appearance of any sovereign's relic would cause even the Holy Lands to be shaken. "Could it be that you want to invite me to enter the Shenyuan Supreme Relic with you?" As if he had thought of something, Jun Haoyan spoke slowly. No one could turn a blind eye to the Supreme Relic, not even Jun Haoyan. Anything left behind by a supreme martial artist would be enough for an ordinary warrior to soar into the sky. However, upon hearing Jun Haoyan's words, Feng Xiaoyao shook his head instead, revealing an extremely regretful expression. Even Bailey Schwanza and Dugu Bo had the same expression. Upon seeing that, Jun Haoyan was curious. At that moment, a blue figure rushed directly into the reception hall. Who else would dare to barge into the sacred hall of Haoyan without permission other than Jun Moyo? At that moment, Jun Moyo's expression was solemn, and he spoke with a sense of caution. "Xiang Holy Sun has just returned." Upon hearing that, the expressions of Feng Xiaoyao and the others changed. Now they had already decided to follow Jun Haoyan, the Holy Son of Haoyan. It could be said that they had already formed a whole with Jun Haoyan. If one fell, all fell. If one rose, all rose. Haoyan Holy Sun's enemy was their enemy. Naturally, they also knew that Xiang Holy Sun was behind the incident in the Sky Demon region. Just based on this incident alone, Xiang Holy Sun and Haoyan Holy Sun had already reached a point where they would not rest until one of them was dead. This enmity was difficult to resolve. Moreover, Feng Xiaoyao knew. Xiang Holy Sun had always had an unspeakable secret from Jun Moyo. Although he did not know what Xiang Holy Sun's intentions were. But based on this point alone, Haoyan Holy Sun and Xiang Holy Sun would be on opposite sides. Xiang Holy Sun was currently Jun Haoyan's greatest enemy. He's finally back. Upon hearing that, Jun Haoyan's expression did not change, but a strange light flashed in his eyes. He had been looking forward to meeting Xiang Holy Sun for a long time. As long as Xiang Holy Sun was not eliminated, he would always be a big problem. He did not have a good time in the Langya Holy Land either. During this period, Jun Haoyan naturally had some understanding of Xiang Holy Sun. It was rumored that this person was extremely talented, and his strength was unparalleled. Even among the Holy Sun, his strength was considered good. Holy Sun, can we expose that in the Sky Demon region Han Tianhe and the other two were ordered by Xiang Holy Sun to collude with the other four forces? A dangerous light flashed in Dugubo's eyes as he said coldly. Although the Holy Sun was honorable, he had colluded with outsiders to murder a core disciple and another Holy Sun. Although the Holy Sun was honorable, he had colluded with outsiders to kill his fellow disciples. This kind of behavior was unforgivable. Even if he was a saint, he still had to be punished. The current Holy Lord of Langya had always been fair. If Tao Xian knew that Xiang Holy Sun had colluded with other Holy Suns, only death would await. Hearing that, Feng Xiaoyao and the others nodded. This was a good idea. Haha, you're still thinking too simply. Since Xiang Holy Sun dared to do this, he must have a backup plan. Jun Haoyan shook his head and did not agree with that. Xiang Holy Sun was not a simple person. It would not be so easy to defeat him. Therefore, in Jun Haoyan's opinion, it would be useless even if he told them what had happened in the Sky Demon region. Thinking of this, a smile appeared on his face. No matter what, since he provoked me, he will have to pay an unbearable price. Jun Haoyan said. Xiang Holy Sun must be killed. Alright, let's not talk about this for now. What's going on with the Xinyuan Supreme Relic? He thought of the hesitation on Feng Xiaoyao's and the others' faces and continued to ask. When they heard this, they were stunned at first. Then Feng Xiaoyao walked out and told them what had happened. It turned out that 30,000 years ago, an extraordinary person had appeared in the Langya sacred ground. He did not have a special constitution, but he was a genius and was extremely powerful. He was the most powerful person of his generation and ascended to the position of the Holy Sun in the most unparalleled manner. He was given the title of the Langya sacred ground, the Holy Sun of Langya. Moreover, he was recognized by the 8 sages and received 8 marks of the Langya Holy Sun. After that, he began to travel the world and defeated the most powerful geniuses of his generation in the Eastern Wilderness. He was known as the number 1 in the Eastern Wilderness. Such a person would definitely bring the Tai sacred ground to the next peak. However, 30,000 years ago, when the Tai Holy Sun was at his peak, he had fallen. And the place where he died was the Supreme Relic that had opened 30,000 years ago. The Supreme Relic opened once every 10,000 years. All the sacred grounds would enter and reap the benefits. However, since the death of the Langya Holy Sun 30,000 years ago, for 30,000 years, the Langya sacred ground had not touched the Xinyuan Supreme Relic. This incident was known as the death of the Langya Holy Sun. Therefore, although Feng Xiaoyao and the others wanted to open the Xinyuan Supreme Relic, they could not do anything, unless the Holy Lord Langya personally gave the order. However, the Langya sacred ground had not sent anyone to explore the Xinyuan Supreme Relic. That incident had a great impact on the sacred ground. After hearing Feng Xiaoyao and the others' explanation, Jun Haoyan was relieved. So that was why Feng Xiaoyao and the others had such a performance. In the end, no one in the sacred ground investigated the cause of the Holy Sun's death? Jun Haoyan was a little curious. The Langya sacred ground would definitely investigate such an amazing person. The others nodded and then explained. After that, they did investigate, but they did not have any leads. Over time, this matter was put aside. It could be said that it had become a permanent pain in the Langya sacred ground. The cause of death could not be traced? Jun Haoyan frowned. He knew that the incident 30,000 years ago was definitely not simple. However, so much time had passed and it was impossible to investigate. In short, the opening of the Xinyuan Supreme Relic was very likely to have nothing to do with the Langya sacred ground. Was a pity? Jun Haoyan sighed. Although the Supreme Relic was explored every 10,000 years, no one had ever touched the central area. There must be countless treasures and all kinds of mystical abilities and secret techniques there. After all, it was the inheritance left behind by the Supreme Relic. However, other than that, there was nothing else. But at this moment, a stream of light floated in the reception hall and rushed in. Everyone turned their heads at this moment and looked at the figure of flowing light throat. Kaiyang Hall Elder? Feng Xiaoyao and the others were stunned, but they did not say anything. The Kaiyang Hall Elder was obviously here to look for Jun Haoyan. Greetings, Holy Sun. After the Kaiyang Hall Elder walked in, he bowed slightly to Jun Haoyan. Elder, you're too polite. You don't come here for no reason. What's the matter? Jun Haoyin stopped. He knew that the elder must have come to the Holy Sun Peak for something. Holy Sun, you're wise. The Mizar Hall elder smiled, but his expression quickly turned solemn. The Sacred Lord invites the Holy Sun to go to the Langya Holy Temple. To the Langya Holy Temple? Jun Haoyin was thoughtful after hearing this. The Langya Holy Temple was the supreme power center of the entire Langya sacred ground. All the orders that decided the major events of the sacred ground came from there. Inviting Jun Haoyin to the Langya Holy Temple was definitely an extremely important matter. Even Feng Xiaoyao and Jun Moyo looked at each other. The Sacred Lord invited the Holy Sun to the Langya Holy Temple. Could it be about the ruins of the Emperor Taiyuan's residence? Okay, I'll go now. Jun Haoyin said, knowing that this matter could not be delayed. No matter what it was, he had to go. The Kaiyang Hall elder nodded when he heard this, but he soon fell into a dilemma. Should he say it or not? Jun Haoyin naturally saw the elder's dilemma and asked casually. Hearing this, the Kaiyang Hall elder frowned, but he soon made up his mind and said directly, Elder, if you have something to say, you can tell me directly. To tell you the truth, Holy Sun, Xiang Holy Sun is now in the Langya Holy Temple. Chapter 145. Xiang Holy Sun is here as well? Jun Haoyin was stunned when he heard this, and then he chuckled softly. This matter really isn't ordinary. Jun Haoyin revealed a trace of a warm smile as he gazed at the Kaiyang Hall elder before him. Jun Haoyin naturally understood the elder's dilemma from before. Even though it wasn't of much use for him to say all this at a time like this. But it represented his attitude. It was a friendly attitude. Between Xiang Holy Sun and himself, this elder had chosen to be friendly with him. Even though it couldn't be said to be a form of submission. As one of the 7 hall elders who possessed a cultivation at the Imperial Dao realm, it was impossible for him to submit so easily. This was merely an expression of goodwill towards him. Between Xiang Holy Sun and himself, this elder favored him more. Jun Haoyin naturally wouldn't foolishly refuse his kind intentions. He immediately smiled and nodded, and then he said to the elder, Thank you for telling me. The elder immediately revealed a wisp of a smile when he heard Jun Haoyin, and he replied, It's only right. Elder, do you know why the Holy Lord has asked me to head to the Langya Divine Hall? Jun Haoyin directly asked while their relationship had improved. That I don't know. The elder instantly revealed a trace of a bitter smile when he heard this. Obviously, his status wasn't high enough to know this. Jun Haoyin didn't ask any further when he heard this, and he left with the elder. As for Feng Xiaoyao, Jun Moyo, and the others, they chose to wait for Jun Haoyin's return on Haoyin Divine Peak. This time, the 2 holy sons of the Langya Hallowed Grounds would officially meet for the first time. The Langya Hallowed Grounds, the Langya Divine Hall. The Langya Divine Hall was located at the center of the Langya Hallowed Grounds. As the center of the Holy Land, the Langya Holy Temple was incomparably magnificent. It floated 10,000 meters above the void, with waterfalls falling from the 9 heavens and rainbow-colored clouds. From time to time, auspicious beasts would appear above the main hall. There were also red-crowned cranes flying above the main hall. The entire Langya Divine Temple looked like a fairyland. Such a paradise could probably only be seen in a top force like the human race's sacred land. At this moment, 2 beams of light shot out from the void and transformed into 2 figures standing in front of the sacred palace. These 2 figures were naturally Jun Haoyin and the Kaiyang Hall elder. Since the Saint Lord did not summon me, I will stop here. The elder of Kaiyang Hall bowed to Jun Haoyin and said. Jun Haoyin nodded and walked into the Langya Divine Palace. Just as Jun Haoyin stepped into the Langya Divine Palace, an extremely powerful force surged out from his body. A terrifying and powerful true origin oscillation wreaked havoc throughout the Langya Divine Palace. As soon as Jun Haoyin released his aura, more than a dozen people in the Langya Divine Palace immediately looked over. Jun Haoyin slowly raised his head and immediately saw more than a dozen powerful figures in the Langya Divine Palace. Standing at the back were the 7 great hall masters of the Langya Hallowed Grounds. At this moment in the main hall, the Holy Lord of Langya and Tao Xian sat majestically at the head of the table. Behind Dao Yin, the 9 grand elders stood for a long time. Jun Haoyin's gaze swept across these figures, but he did not stop. Until the figure of a young man appeared in front of him. This figure was dressed in purple and had purple hair. He stood tall and straight with his hands behind his back. His entire body exuded purple true origin, and a purple sun flashed from time to time. He was full of grandeur and grandeur. This figure was naturally the Xiang Holy Sun. At this moment, as if sensing Jun Haoyin's gaze, the Ziyang Holy Sun slowly turned around. The moment he saw Jun Haoyin, a cold glint flashed across the Ziyang Holy Sun's eyes. In the next moment, a purple ray of light shot out from his eyes. This purple ray of light was formless. It broke through everything and rushed toward Jun Haoyin. Faced with all this, Jun Haoyin's gaze turned cold, but his expression did not change. In the next moment he activated his indestructible divine body. All the pores on his body inhaled and exhaled a huge amount of spiritual essence, and an immortal aura exuded from him. Then, the purple ray of light disappeared the moment it got close to Jun Haoyin. Seeing this, the Ziyang Holy Sun's eyes narrowed slightly. However, he did not say anything. He slowly turned around as if nothing had happened. Greetings to the Holy Lord and all the Supreme Elders. Jun Haoyin walked forward slowly and stood side by side with the Ziyang Holy Sun. Then he bowed to the Holy Lord of Langya and all the Supreme Elders. Tao Xian and all the Supreme Elders nodded, as if they had not seen the fight between the two of them. Since everyone is here, let's get to the main topic. Then one of the Supreme Elders suddenly spoke. He held an ancient sword in his hand and slowly stood up from his seat. The ancient sword in his hand seemed to be made of extraordinary material. It was made of divine iron from outer space. Perhaps it had been through too many years, but the ancient sword had been eroded by an unknown force and had lost its divine properties. It could shatter at any time. This ancient sword is called the Langya Ancient Sword. It was the Holy Son of Langya's personal sword 30,000 years ago. The Supreme Elder held the ancient long sword in his hand and looked around as he spoke slowly. This long sword was actually from 30,000 years ago. It was the relic of the Holy Son of Langya. Jun Haoyin was a little surprised when he heard this. He had just learned about the Holy Son of Langya. He did not expect to see the relic of the Holy Son of Langya now. In the next moment he seemed to have thought of something. Suddenly Jun Haoyin's gaze landed on the Ziyang Holy Sun. At this moment the reaction of the Ziyang Holy Sun and everyone else in the hall was very calm. It was as if he had known about this long ago. Could even be, Jun Haoyin secretly guessed something. This relic was found by the Ziyang Holy Sun in the remains of Shenyuan Supreme, the Supreme Elder said slowly. As expected. Hearing this, Jun Haoyin smiled with relief. All of this really had something to do with the Ziyang Holy Sun. At this moment, the Holy Lord of Langya, Tao Xian, slowly stood up. His gaze was very solemn. The majesty of a Holy Lord was especially oppressive to everyone present. 30,000 years ago, the death of the Holy Son of Langya was a great blow to the Langya sacred ground. It was also the regret of many of our ancestors. A Supreme Elder continued, for 30,000 years, finding the relic of the Holy Son of Langya has always been the wish of the upper echelons of the sacred ground. As the Holy Lord of Langya, I will do my best to complete this task. Now, I announce that from this moment onwards, the disciples of the Langya sacred ground can enter the remains of the Supreme. There is no need for you to bring any treasures. You only need to find traces of the Holy Son of Langya's remains. Tao Xian announced his decision in a few words. Hearing this, Jun Haoyin's expression did not change at all. When the hallmasters heard this, they began to discuss among themselves. The death of the Holy Son of Langya had always been the greatest pain in the hearts of the Langya sacred ground. Therefore Tao Xian gave this order. Although Jun Haoyin was a little surprised, he did not say anything. Facing the Holy Son of 30,000 years ago, Jun Haoyin was a little curious about him. Ziyang Haotian, the two of you are the two Holy Son of the Langya sacred ground. Now, I order the two of you to lead the disciples of the sacred ground, the elite disciples whose bone ages are below 200 years old, into the supreme remains. At this moment, Tao Xian looked at Ziyang Holy Sun and Jun Haoyin and gave the order. There was a peerless formation outside the Shenyuan remains. If a martial artist whose bone age was over 200 years old tried to force his way into this peerless sword formation, he would be turned into a pool of pus and blood. Anyone who was over 200 years old would be killed instantly. Therefore Tao Xian decided to let the two Holy Sun lead the team for this operation. Hearing this, everyone in the Great Hall nodded. After 30,000 years, the Langya sacred ground finally entered the supreme remains again. Alright, you can make the arrangements yourselves. You are all dismissed. Dao Yan opened his mouth and only announced this one major event. Just as everyone was about to leave, Tao Xian's voice was heard again. Haotian, you stay here. Hearing Holy Lord Tao Xian's words, Jun Haoyin nodded and stayed where he was. As for Ziyang Holy Sun, he paused for a moment. An imperceptible light appeared in his eyes, but it quickly dissipated. Then, Ziyang Holy Sun walked out of the sacred hall without hesitation. After everyone left, Holy Lord Tao Xian slowly walked down from the main seat. He walked up to Jun Haoyan with a hint of admiration in his eyes. You did well with everything that happened in the Sky Demon region. Tao Xian looked at Jun Haoyan and said with a smile. Hearing this, Jun Haoyan's eyebrows twitched. It must be because of him attacking the number one true disciples of the various major forces. He thought that this would make Tao Xian think differently of him. He didn't expect Tao Xian to praise him even more. As the Holy Son, the future successor of the Sacred Lord, I have to be strong to the end. The various major forces have been fighting for a long time. You chose to protect your disciples, which is a merit. As for what they think and what they have to say, don't worry about it. I will take care of it for you. Tao Xian spoke in a domineering tone. The various major forces definitely had something to say about Jun Haoyan killing their true disciples. But why didn't anyone come out to criticize him? Of course there was the Holy Lord Langya Tao Xian. He was the sacred lord of the human race and he was strong and decisive. Just as he said, he would take care of everything for Jun Haoyan. Thank you, Sacred Lord. Jun Haoyan cupped his hands, knowing that this Sacred Lord had done a lot for him in private. You deserve it. Tao Xian waved his hand and didn't mind it. In his opinion, if the most talented prodigy didn't even have this kind of courage, how could he dominate a sacred ground in the future? As for the matter between you and Ziyang, I won't interfere. In short, the winner takes all. I hope you understand this principle. Jun Haoyan was a little surprised when he heard this. It seemed that this Sacred Lord already knew a lot. Well, to be able to reach this position he was not only strong but also shrewd. Which Sacred Lord of the human race would be a simple person? I understand. Jun Haoyan didn't say much. In fact, Tao Xian didn't need any guarantees from him. As long as everything he did was in the interest of the Langya sacred ground, it was fine. Lastly, you have to be careful in the ruins of Supreme Shenyuan. I don't want to lose another holy son who is recognized by the Supreme Emperor technique. Tao Xian turned around and looked at Jun Haoyan with a dignified gaze. He emphasized the words, Supreme Emperor technique. It seemed that the death of the holy son of Langya 30,000 years ago was indeed an unforgettable event for the sacred ground. Alright, there are still 7 days left before the Supreme Emperor ruins opens. Prepare well. Remember, whether or not you can find the body of the holy son of Langya, Baiming Han, you have to come back alive. You are more important than him. Jun Haoyan nodded solemnly when he heard this. Tao Xian was indeed more important than him. Leaving him alone might be a kind of affirmation. Jun Haoyan was naturally not a heartless person. He bowed slightly again. Then the two of them talked about some things again and Jun Haoyan turned to leave. At this moment, Tao Xian looked at Jun Haoyan's back thoughtfully. He sincerely hoped that Jun Haoyan would be able to grow. This generation of disciples of the Langya sacred ground was indeed much weaker than the other sacred grounds. There was a sense of inadequacy. Apart from Ziyang Holy Son, the other core disciples were all quite talented. But compared to the Kunlun Sacred Ground, Wavering Light Sacred Ground, Jade Lake Sacred Ground, and so on, they were still much weaker. Jun Haoyan was the hope of this generation of the Langya Sacred Ground. What? The Sacred Lord has ordered us to explore the Shenyuan Supreme Emperor's ruins? On the Haoyan Divine Peak, Feng Xiaoyao and the others were very surprised. After all, the Shenyuan Supreme Emperor's ruins had been a taboo in the Langya Sacred Ground for over 20,000 years. But they didn't expect that they would allow their disciples to explore it now. This is a good thing for them. Entering the Shenyuan Supreme Emperor's ruins would allow them to break through to the Imperial Dao realm faster. Jun Haoyan nodded when he saw the excitement in their eyes. The Sacred Lord had told them not to spread the news about the Holy Son of Langya, Baiming Han. So he didn't say anything. He only told them to prepare and to set off in 7 days. Jun Haoyan and Ziyang Holy Son would lead the exploration team. In other words, this was the first time the Holy Son and Ziyang Holy Son would compete with each other. Ziyang Holy Son would gather the people he trusted to search for Baiming Han's remains in the Shenyuan Supreme Emperor's ruins. Even though the Sacred Lord didn't say it explicitly, both Jun Haoyan and Ziyang Holy Son knew what he meant. This was a great merit. Once it was completed, there would be all sorts of benefits. Just as Tao Xian had said, the winner was the king. He and the Grand Elder would only remain neutral. As for who would become the next Holy Lord, it would depend on their abilities. Jun Haoyan didn't feel much about the position of the Holy Lord Langya. But Ziyang Holy Son couldn't live forever. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyan stepped into the main hall. If he wanted to obtain more benefits in the Shenyuan Supreme Emperor's ruins, he had to be powerful. And Jun Haoyan was no exception. He was now at the peak of Yuandan Stage 10. This cultivation level was obviously not enough. Because when the time came, he would have to face the holy son and holy daughter of the various sacred lands. They were all geniuses. So he planned to break through to the Imperial Dao realm during this period. No matter where he was or what kind of opponent he faced. As long as he had the strength, he could ignore everything. No matter what Ziyang Holy Sun planned in the future, it was useless in the face of absolute strength. If others knew that Jun Haoyan was going to break through to the Imperial Dao realm in 7 days, they would be shocked. Countless people would be stunned. Even geniuses needed a long time to prepare and strengthen their souls after breaking through to the Imperial Dao realm. The strength of the soul was the most important thing to break through to the Imperial Dao realm. Jun Haoyan was confident that his soul was much stronger than an ordinary Yuan Dan stage cultivator, but it wasn't invincible. He knew that on the martial god continent, there were people whose souls were stronger than his. Looks like I have to find a divine ability to cultivate the soul. Jun Haoyan muttered to himself. He was very powerful in all aspects, but his soul had become his weakest link. Ding. Congratulations to the host. The check-in time has been refreshed. Chapter 146. At the same time, in another Holy Sun's mountain in the Langya sacred ground. In the Purple Sun Holy Mountain. In a majestic and domineering hall, the Ziyang Holy Sun was wearing a purple robe and sitting in the main seat. A powerful aura emanated from his body. Violet light flickered all over his body, making him look like a purple sun. Whether it was in terms of aura or other aspects, the Ziyang Holy Sun could be considered a prodigy. Even in the entire Wuxian continent, the Ziyang Holy Sun was one of the top prodigies. Compared to when he was in the Langya Holy Palace, the Ziyang Holy Sun now seemed to be less calm. There was even a hint of anger on his face. May I know why the Holy Sun has summoned me? After a while, a young man wearing the uniform of a true disciple of the Langya sacred ground came before the Ziyang Holy Sun and bowed. Hearing the young man's words, the Ziyang Holy Sun slowly turned around and said coldly, "How is the matter that I've instructed you to do?" The Purple Sun Saint's words were emotionless. They were filled with a domineering aura that struck fear into the hearts of others. Holy Sun, you can be at ease. Everything has been arranged according to your instructions. Now we just have to wait for the opening of Exalt Xuanyuan's ruins. The elite disciple revealed a trace of a smile when he heard this, and he spoke. As the old Holy Sun of the Langya sacred ground, the Ziyang Holy Sun already had his own subordinates. Even though Han Tianhe, Xing Shan and the others had been killed by Jun Haoyan, the Ziyang Holy Sun's power in the Langya sacred ground was still strong. He was not afraid of Jun Haoyan at all. But now the Ziyang Holy Sun suddenly felt a strong sense of danger. This sense of danger was naturally brought to him by Jun Haoyan. Today the Holy Lord of Langya left Jun Haoyan alone. This action made Ziyang Holy Sun feel a strong sense of danger. He wondered if the Holy Lord Tao Xian had already found out about what he had done during this period of time. Ziyang Holy Sun's eyes darkened at the thought of this. In the next moment he suddenly laughed, and there was a hint of coldness in his laughter. Jun Haoyan, the one who has the last laugh, is the king. A momentary success or failure didn't mean anything. As long as I get Jun Moyo, then everything will be, Ziyang Holy Sun murmured to himself, his eyes cold. Now his biggest target wasn't Jun Haoyan but Jun Moyo. No one knew why the Ziyang Holy Sun cared so much about Jun Moyo. No one knew what the Ziyang Holy Sun was plotting. You may leave for now. Ziyang Holy Sun said indifferently as he looked at the young man in the hall. Yes. The young man left the hall in an extremely respectful manner. After that, the Ziyang Holy Sun returned to his cultivation hall and started cultivating. He slowly sank into his consciousness, and a purple Yuan Dan slowly appeared above the Ziyang Holy Sun's head. There were 5 cracks on the Yuan Dan. The 5 cracks meant that the Ziyang Holy Sun's cultivation had reached the 5th level of the Imperial Dao realm. On top of that, the Purple Sun Saint Sun was a peerless prodigy and had cultivated supreme divine powers. His strength was far greater than what others thought. Jun Haoyan, once we enter Xianyuan Supreme's ruins, I'll make sure you stay there forever. The Ziyang Holy Sun's eyes were tightly shut as he murmured to himself. An extremely violent aura emanated from his body. Jun Moyo, this time I'll definitely have you. While the Holy Sun was in seclusion, news of the opening of Xianyuan Supreme's ruins quickly spread throughout the Langya Holy Lands. All the disciples were filled with disbelief at first, then excitement. The sovereign's ruins. Those were the ruins left behind by an exalted supreme. If they could obtain something from there, they would definitely soar to the heavens. Of course, There were also some disciples of the Langya Holy Lands who sighed and shook their heads. If they wanted to enter the sovereign's ruins, their cultivation had to reach the Yuandan realm. Disciples with weak cultivations didn't have the qualifications to enter at all. Of course, more people were concerned about the fact that the Holy Sun and Xiang Holy Sun were leading the group. That was also the focus of everyone's discussion. On the surface, it was just an ordinary division, but those who understood it knew. They had to choose a side. They had to choose between the Xiang Holy Sun and Haoyin Holy Sun. Choosing one side meant offending the other side. No one dared to make a choice rashly. This also led to the fact that no one could save their lives for a long time, except for those who were loyal to the Xiang Holy Sun and Haoyin Holy Sun. Helpless, the 7 temple masters chose to draw lots to form the teams. Those disciples who were hesitant and didn't dare to join the team directly drew lots to decide. This random method was approved by many true disciples. Of course, there were also many who chose not to draw lots and directly chose a side. Ding! The check-in time has been refreshed. Would the host like to check in? At this moment, in the training hall of the Haoyin Divine Peak. Hearing the system prompt in his mind, Jun Haoyin slowly opened his eyes, and there was a glimmer of light in his eyes. Check in. Jun Haoyin said slowly. Ding. Congratulations to the host for signing in successfully. You have obtained the Supreme Soul Refining Technique, Past Amitabha Sutra. Supreme Soul Refining Technique? Hearing the system's voice, Jun Haoyin's eyes couldn't help but light up. He didn't expect that he would actually draw this Supreme Soul Refining Technique this time. He remembered that in the original work, the protagonist relied on this Supreme Soul Refining Technique to start his journey against the heavens. This was a well-deserved Supreme Soul Refining Technique. Moreover, he was currently lacking such a Supreme Soul Refining Technique. He really got what he wanted. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyin directly opened the Past Amitabha Sutra. The soul exists in the heavenly court. The heavenly court is the home of the gods and the spiritual altar of the Buddhas. The sound of the great Tao slowly sounded in Jun Haoyin's mind. Soon, Jun Haoyin was immersed in the comprehension of the Past Amitabha Sutra. Strictly speaking, this Supreme Soul Refining Technique was a Buddhist technique. There were also Buddhists in the western desert of the martial god continent. Buddhists had always been elusive. Other than some ascetic monks who traveled the world, there were basically no Buddhists. On the martial god continent, Buddhists had always been famous for their soul refining techniques. No, it wasn't just on the martial god continent. Even among the 3,000 small worlds, Buddhist body refining techniques were the best. It was said that the martial god continent's Buddhist inheritance came from the Pure Land. The Pure Land was also one of the 3,000 small worlds, and it was one of the stronger ones. On the Pure Land, everyone was a Buddhist cultivator. There were no other cultivation systems. Buddhist techniques were also extremely powerful, and very few of them were spread outside. Jun Haoyin didn't know whether the Past Amitabha Sutra was stronger or weaker than the Buddhist techniques on the Pure Land. However, Jun Haoyin could guarantee that the Past Amitabha Sutra was considered a top-notch technique among Buddhists. Just as Jun Haoyin finished comprehending the entire Past Amitabha Sutra, boom! At that moment, an extremely terrifying figure suddenly appeared in Jun Haoyin's mind. At the same time, Jun Haoyin felt his divine soul begin to strengthen rapidly. At that moment, his consciousness seemed to be shielded from external disturbances and sank directly into his divine soul sea. When Jun Haoyin saw the scene in his mind, he was completely stunned. At that moment, he was in the center of his divine soul sea. As far as the eye could see, endless golden light completely enveloped the entire divine soul sea. After a while, the golden light slowly disappeared. At that moment, a huge golden Buddha body slowly appeared in his divine soul sea. This Buddha looked exactly the same as Jun Haoyin, and it slowly floated above his divine soul sea. In the void around the Buddha body, there were countless suns, moons, and stars revolving around it, emitting endless light to support this golden Buddha. At that moment, the golden Buddha's eyes were slightly closed, and it was sitting cross-legged. Its hands were forming a seal, and its expression was serene. However, facing this Buddha, Jun Haoyin didn't feel a trace of the majesty of a Buddha. Instead, he felt a kind and familiar aura. In fact, Jun Haoyin had a feeling in his heart. This Buddha seemed to be a lifetime that he had experienced countless reincarnations. Just like that, as he cultivated the Buddha Sutra of the past, Jun Haoyin felt that he had directly transformed into a Buddha. As time passed, Jun Haoyin felt that his divine soul was rapidly strengthening. In the beginning, the size of Jun Haoyin's divine soul was only at the peak of the Yuandan realm. However, after cultivating the Buddha Sutra of the past for only 3 days, His divine soul had already broken through to the Imperial Tao realm. This meant that Jun Haoyin would have no obstructions in breaking through to the Imperial Tao realm in the future. In just 3 days he had made such progress, as expected of a supreme soul refinement technique. Sensing the strengthening of his divine soul, Jun Haoyin couldn't help but sigh in his heart. At that moment, his divine soul seemed to have transformed into a Buddha, purifying everything in the world. The Buddha Sutra of the past was extremely miraculous. Once he succeeded in cultivating it, he would be able to circulate it within his body. Even if Jun Haoyin ended his cultivation, his divine soul was still strengthening incessantly with the help of the Buddha Sutra of the past. After an unknown period of time, Jun Haoyin suddenly opened his eyes. A vast and boundless aura suddenly erupted from within his body, and waves of powerful aura surged. The Yuan Dan within his body was restless, and 9-colored lightning coiled around his body. This was the sign that the heavenly tribulation was about to arrive. I'll seize this opportunity to break through to the Imperial Tao realm. A myriad of golden lights shot out from Jun Haoyin's eyes. With a single step, he walked out of the cultivation hall and stood in the air above Haoyin Divine Peak. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the space shook as boundless black clouds gathered together. Rumble. Thunder rumbled, and it resounded for thousands of kilometers as if it wanted to destroy everything. This scene instantly drew the attention of a large number of disciples from the Langya divine grounds. Everyone raised their heads when they saw the phenomenon in the sky. This is the sign that the heavenly tribulation is about to arrive. Could it be that someone is about to break through to the Imperial Tao realm? That's Haoyin Divine Peak. Could it be the Holy Son of Haoyin? Could it be that the Holy Son of Haoyin is about to break through to the Imperial Tao realm? How could that be possible? The Holy Son of Haoyin broke through to the Yuan Dan realm not long ago. How could he possibly break through to the Imperial Tao realm? Is the natural talent of a saint physique so terrifying? He broke through to the Imperial Tao realm so quickly. Disbelief filled the eyes of everyone when they saw the terrifying scene in the sky, and they didn't dare believe their eyes. Even Jun Moyo, Feng Xiaoyao, Dugu Bo, and Bailey Xuanzi who were close to Jun Haoyin opened their eyes wide with disbelief. Unlike the others, they knew that Jun Haoyin had just broken through to the 10th level of the Yuan Dan realm a few days ago. Never had they imagined that Jun Haoyin would actually break through again so quickly. Moreover, he was breaking through to the Imperial Tao realm. What the hell was this? The commotion in the sky was huge. Gradually, even the heavenly star elites, the 7 hall elders and hall masters walked out and looked towards Haoyin Divine Peak. They saw a purple figure slowly standing in the sky above Haoyin Divine Peak under the dark clouds of tribulation. His figure was tall and straight, and lightning coiled around his body. Endless clouds and mist gathered in the sky as if the heavens were about to crush down. However, Jun Haoyin stood there, and his purple robes fluttered even though there was no wind. His extraordinary bearing made him look like a god that had descended. Everyone watched all of this in astonishment. Rumble. At this moment, the sky exploded again. Black clouds surged as if there were countless black dragons surging within them. They covered thousands of kilometers and covered the entire sky. Waves of terrifying aura suffused the air, and it was breathtaking. What shocked countless people even more was that the black cloud suddenly changed and turned into 9 colors. This is the legendary 9-colored lightning clouds, the 9-colored tribulation of lightning. How is this possible? Isn't this the lightning tribulation that only appears in legends? It's said that when the Kunlun Holy Land cultivator broke through the tribulation of Tao, only the 6-colored tribulation of lightning appeared. The 9-colored tribulation of lightning will be 10 times more powerful with each additional color. The Holy Son of Haoyin will have to endure 90 times the lightning tribulation of the Yuan Dan Peak martial artist. Seeing this scene, not only the true disciples, but even the 7 hall masters were extremely shocked. Their bodies were faintly trembling. At this moment, their hearts were filled with excitement and fear. It was such a grand scene that even the supreme elder of the Holy Land of Langya and Tao Xian came out. They looked at everything in the sky in astonishment and looked at each other. What is Haoyin doing now? He actually attracted the legendary 9-colored tribulation of lightning. With his current strength, can he withstand it? A supreme elder could not help but ask. Apart from being shocked, he was also worried. Although the 9-colored heavenly lightning divine tribulation represented an extraordinary significance, could Jun Haoyin withstand it? Holy Lord, what do you think? Another supreme elder said. He seemed to want to help Jun Haoyin. It's okay. Let's see first. At this moment, the Holy Lord of Langya, Tao Xian, said in a deep voice. he was no longer as calm as before. Even he would not dare to withstand the nine-colored tribulation of lightning when he was in the LV-10 Yuan Dan realm. Just like what the Supreme Elder said, he would step in if anything happened. This kid is really troublesome. Looking at Jun Haoyin in the sky, Tao Xian could not help but shake his head and say. However, he was also a little proud and thankful in his heart. Fortunately, this kid was the holy son of the Langya Holy Land. If people from other holy lands knew that this kid had attracted the nine-colored tribulation of lightning, they would be furious. They would probably go crazy with jealousy. As for the Xiang Holy Sun on the Purple Sun Divine Peak, he naturally saw the scene as well. His eyes were full of shock, but what followed was endless killing intent. For the first time in his life he was jealous. Jun Haoyin must die. Xiang Holy Sun roared in his heart. Rumble. At this moment, under the shocked eyes of countless people, Jun Haoyin faced the nine-colored clouds of the nine-colored tribulation of lightning and went up against the heavens. Chapter 147. Rumble. Above the nine heavens, an earth-shattering roar sounded from the nine-colored thundercloud. Even the sky seemed to be shattered. Above the sky, Jun Haoyin slowly took a step forward with an indifferent expression. At this moment he was like a supreme divine king overlooking the nine heavens and 10 earths. In his body, more and more lightning gathered on the Yuan Dan, as if it was about to explode at any time. Of course, this was just a vision. The real danger came from the nine heavens tribulation thunder above the nine heavens. Now, Jun Haoyin was only one step away from summoning the divine thunder. Under the tempering of the past Amitabha Sutra, his spiritual soul was close to perfection and had become extremely powerful. He was not afraid of this heavenly tribulation at all. In the next moment, Jun Haoyin's eyes flashed with a hint of excitement. With a thought, the 200,000 demonic aura in Jun Haoyin's body suddenly surged. The demonic aura had been refined by Jun Haoyin. At this moment, it could be said to be a pure force. Then Jun Haoyin directly controlled the demonic aura and crazily directed it into the Yuan Dan. Buzz. In the next moment, there was an earth-shattering roar coming from the Yuan Dan. At the same time, countless golden divine lights shot out from the Yuan Dan in all directions. In Jun Haoyin's body, the Yuan Dan was violently rioting. Golden divine lights rushed out from the top of Jun Haoyin's head. Rumble. The golden light was fearless and directly rushed into the thundercloud in the void. Suddenly, the whole sky shook and the nine-colored thundercloud became denser. The roar continued to be heard, as if to show the extraordinariness of the heavenly tribulation. After a while, when Jun Haoyin injected all the demonic aura in his body into the Yuan Dan, there was finally a change in the void. The nine-colored thundercloud rolled violently, and thunderbolts began to appear on it. It was like a terrifying thunder dragon roaring and rolling in the clouds. Upon closer inspection, there were 9 colors of the thunderbolts, which were intertwined with each other. When the heavenly tribulation appeared, the heavens and earth changed. The wind and clouds rose and the world was in chaos. This is really a 9-colored lightning tribulation. I never thought that the Holy Son of Great Heaven would have to face such a terrifying heavenly tribulation. Even if I'm at the monarch realm, I would still perish beneath such a terrifying heavenly tribulation. An elder said with lingering fear as he looked at the flashing 9-colored lightning tribulation in the void. In the face of a lightning tribulation that could destroy the world, he couldn't even raise the thought of resisting. Although the 9-colored lightning tribulation had come specifically for Jun Haoyin, anyone who tried to force their way in would be marked by the power of the heavenly tribulation. At that time, the heavenly tribulation would still descend even if you didn't reach the level of transcending it. Unless a sempiternal realm expert made a move and used a supreme secret art to conceal the secrets of the heavens. Anyone below the sempiternal realm who entered the range of the heavenly tribulation would be marked by the heavenly tribulation. Therefore, at this moment, there was no one within 5 miles of Jun Haoyin. Even all the living beings on the Haoyin Divine Peak fled from the Haoyin Divine Peak, not daring to approach. Rumble. After an unknown period of time, the rolling 9-colored lightning tribulation in the sky finally gathered together. 9 different colored lightning bolts slowly converged and transformed into a 9-colored divine lightning that was 300 meters wide and 300,000 meters long. The divine lightning filled the sky as if it wanted to tear the sky apart and shock all living beings. Looking up at the sky, Jun Haoyin's gaze was resolute and without a trace of fear. In the next moment, Jun Haoyin activated all the abilities and secret arts within his body. The secret character of all circulated 10,000 times. The indestructible heavenly god physique erupted, the yin-yang nirvana technique harmonized, and the 12 strands of demon god energy supported his body. An aura that was as terrifying as the 9-colored divine lightning surged out from Jun Haoyin's body. At this moment, Jun Haoyin was like a peerless monarch who was slowly walking down from the throne of the 9 heavens. He raised his right hand and punched out. At the same time, a 9-colored divine lightning descended from the tribulation clouds in the sky. Rumble. The divine lightning descended, and the sky changed color once more. A world-destroying pressure approached the Haoyin divine peak. Under the sweeping pressure, the countless divine peaks that were hanging in the sky were suddenly pushed hundreds of miles away. Even the ground under Jun Haoyin's feet cracked and lava burst out. If it were not for the support of the array, Jun Haoyin's tribulation would have destroyed at least 1,000 miles of the Langya divine grounds. Under the pressure of the heavenly tribulation, all living beings prostrated themselves on the ground. They could not withstand the pressure at all. Even the disciples of Langya who were 5 miles away felt their hair stand on end. Even though they were so far away, they could still feel their bodies trembling and their souls trembling in fear. In the sky, the Holy Lord of Langya, Tao Xian, also clenched his fists when he saw this scene. In the next moment, his eyes emitted an abstruse and mysterious light as he observed the scene in the tribulation clouds. If Jun Haoyin could not withstand the tribulation lightning, he would help him regardless of the cost. However, when he saw the scene in the tribulation lightning, he was slightly stunned and unconsciously loosened his fists. At this moment, everyone's gazes were focused on the sky. The Holy Sun had actually succeeded in breaking through the tribulation lightning. At this moment, Jun Haoyin wore a gorgeous violet robe. His entire body was spotlessly clean, and his body emanated boundless divine radiance. The imperceptible aura he emanated had directly surpassed the Yuandan realm. Everyone watched this scene with disbelief and they held their breaths. This was the most critical moment in overcoming the tribulation. Only the first level of the Imperial Dao realm was capable of guiding the tribulation energy to shatter one of the markings on the Yuandan. At this moment, Jun Haoyin was guiding the tribulation energy into the Yuandan. Seeing this scene, even the Supreme Elder's expression tensed up. In the next moment, all the Supreme Elders released their souls and swept through the heavens and the earth. So long as they sensed danger to Jun Haoyin, they would disregard everything and attack. At this moment, within Jun Haoyin's body, a miniature 9-colored bolt of lightning was drawn into his body, and it was moving about within his flesh and blood. In the next moment, the 9-colored bolt of lightning actually broke through his meridians and directly surged into his soul. If it was anyone else, they would definitely be scared half to death when the tribulation energy surged into their soul. However, Jun Haoyin laughed with disdain when he saw this. After that, he activated the Amitabha Sutra and transformed his soul into a golden Buddha. The Buddha's left hand grasped the sky and his right hand grasped the earth, and the space between his brows was filled with benevolence. On the other hand, the violent 9-colored bolt of lightning was directly suppressed when it encountered the terrifying Buddha's soul. Umph. Jun Haoyin laughed as he enveloped the 9-colored bolt of lightning with the vast energy of his soul and guided it into his Yuandan. Crack. Right at this moment, a crack appeared on Jun Haoyin's Yuandan. Boom, boom, boom. A terrifying wave of true essence erupted from within and instantly surged into Jun Haoyin's flesh, blood, and meridians. Numerous ancient mammoths awakened and emanated dazzling golden divine light. Jun Haoyin's golden blood aura became even more terrifying. The indestructible heavenly god physique had even completed its divine transformation. At this moment, Jun Haoyin stood at the peak of the first level of the Imperial Dao realm. The number of mammoth seeds he possessed had reached 300,000. His physical body, soul, and true essence were more than 10 times stronger than before. This is the Imperial Dao realm. The Imperial Dao realm expert calmed his mind and vaguely sensed some changes in the world. He even sensed the flow of origin energy and the life and death of plants. The Imperial Dao realm allowed one to comprehend the world. Not only could one utilize their true essence, but they could also control the energy of the world. True strength. Only upon reaching this realm could one be considered an expert on the martial god continent. An Imperial Dao realm expert who'd overcome the heavenly tribulation truly possessed the strength to match the name of the Holy Sun. Congratulations, Holy Sun Haoyin. Congratulations, Holy Sun Haoyin, for breaking through to the Imperial Dao realm. Right at this moment, countless disciples of the Langya sacred grounds and even some elders cupped their hands and congratulated Jun Haoyin. The Imperial Dao realm was a realm of great significance. Especially the Holy Son of the hallowed grounds. Naturally, everyone had to congratulate him. Jun Haoyin smiled when he witnessed this scene, and he was extremely indifferent. However, he noticed with embarrassment that the beautiful scenery of the hallowed grounds beneath his feet was gone. In its place was lava that covered the ground, and it was a scene of devastation. His tribulation had actually destroyed an area of a few hundred kilometers around the Langya sacred grounds. Jun Haoyin had truly never imagined that his tribulation would cause such a huge commotion. He'd learned that there were various formations in the hallowed grounds. If it wasn't for that, Jun Haoyin wouldn't have been able to break through to the Imperial Dao realms so hastily. Alright, you can go back and rest. Right at this moment, the Holy Lord Tao Xian appeared before him. He seemed to have seen through the embarrassment in Jun Haoyin's eyes, and there was a trace of a smile on his face. What about these? Jun Haoyin pointed at the destroyed things below and spoke in a slightly embarrassed manner. Even if he was the Holy Sun, he couldn't destroy them at will, right? It's fine, said the Holy Lord Tao Xian as he flicked his sleeve slightly. In an instant, a myriad of rays of light appeared below, and the entire ground shook. On the other hand, the main peaks that had been pushed hundreds of kilometers away because of Jun Haoyin's tribulation returned to their original positions. In the next instant, the destroyed hallowed grounds returned to its original state. Not even a single blade of grass or tree had changed. Is this the ability of an Eternal Realm expert? Jun Haoyin was slightly surprised. He'd been able to accomplish such a feat with just a wave of his hand. It was a bit of an exaggeration to say that he'd rebuilt the world, but that was definitely what it meant. The Holy Lord Tao Xian, was so powerful that it was unbelievable. He was definitely an existence that stood at the peak of the Eternal Realm. Tomorrow is the opening of Shenyuan Supreme's ruins. Go and prepare. Don't worry about anything else, said Tao Xian. Then he asked everyone to leave. Jun Haoyin nodded. 6 days had passed and they would set off tomorrow. Although Shenyuan Supreme's ruins were located very far away from the Langya sacred grounds, it was nothing to a power like the Langya sacred grounds. It was just a matter of a teleportation formation. When the time came, the various hall masters would set it up, and they would arrive in the blink of an eye. After that, Jun Haoyin returned to the Haoyin Divine Peak. On this last night, everyone who was going to participate in the opening of the ruins was secretly preparing. Everyone had to take out their trump cards. Only then would they be able to gain more benefits. It was also on this night that Jun Haoyin, Jun Moyo, and the others discussed the details. The ruins left behind by the Supreme Being were actually small worlds that the Supreme Being had opened up. Because of the passage of time, the space inside was a little unstable. After entering, everyone would appear in different places. It was similar to the Sky Demon region. But fortunately they would appear in the outer area. So it was easy to gather. In order to prevent something from happening in the Sky Demon region, Jun Haoyin told everyone not to do anything after entering the ruins and to gather as much as possible. Only in this way could they minimize the consumption. After all, they would have to face the disciples of the various major powers in Shenyuan Supreme's ruins. They couldn't be careless. After everything was explained, everyone left. The next morning, the sun hung high in the sky. The central martial arts practice square was filled with people. Almost all the disciples that could gather had come. Even if they couldn't participate, there were still many who wanted to join in the fun. In the void, supreme elders appeared one after another. The Holy Lord Tao Xian was in the middle. In front of them were the disciples led by Jun Haoyin and the people led by Xiang Holy Sun. These people were divided into 2 teams. Each of them had 50 to 60 subordinates. The Supreme Being's ruins only allowed people above the Yuan Dan realm and below the age of 200 to enter. The people led by Jun Haoyin and Xiang Holy Sun were already the elites of the Langya sacred ground. Everyone pay attention. At this moment, the voice of the Holy Lord Tao Xian sounded in the void. The Supreme Being's ruins are full of danger. So I'm informing you. All disciples of the Langya sacred ground, when you enter, remember to help each other and gain more benefits. He stood on the spot. His voice was like thunder. After hearing this, everyone bowed and shouted. Yes, Holy Lord. This time they had to face people from other sacred grounds. They couldn't act recklessly. The higher-ups of the Langya sacred ground didn't want any accidents to happen to these elite disciples. Alright everyone, let's go. As soon as Tao Xian finished speaking, the void shook and a teleportation array appeared. It spanned dozens of miles, and there was a powerful spatial energy fluctuation. After passing through the array, they would arrive at the location of the Shenyuan Supreme Being's ruins. At this moment, Jun Haoyin bowed and turned around. Behind him there was a golden jade carriage. It was made of divine gold and had all kinds of flowers, birds, fish, insects, and auspicious beasts engraved on it. It had a noble aura. In front of the jade carriage, there were 9 dragon-blooded heavenly horses that were comparable to peak true energy stage 10 pulling the jade carriage. This was the honor of the Langya Holy Sun. It was extremely noble and inviolable. Feng Xiaoyao Dugubo, and the others followed beside the jade carriage and looked forward. Neighing, the dragon-blooded heavenly horses neighed and pulled the carriage, bringing Jun Haotian into the array. As for the Xiang Holy Sun, he calmly boarded an ancient chariot and left behind Jun Haotian. At this moment, the Holy Lord of Langya looked at the departing disciples and fell into deep thought. "Holy Lord?" one of the Grand Elders asked, feeling a little strange. "I'm afraid that only the Holy Son of the Langya sacred ground will return this time." After saying that, Tao Xian directly left. Only a few Supreme Elders were left, sighing slightly. Xiang Holy Sun and Jun Haotian were already at odds with each other. However, they were neutral in the battle between the Holy Sun and the Holy Sun. No matter who returned in the end, it might be the future Holy Lord. Then the Grand Elders also left. It was also on this day that the entire Eastern Wilderness sacred grounds and top sects became lively. The opening of Xinyuan Supreme's relic attracted the attention of the top forces in the Eastern Wilderness. Beams of divine light kept appearing between heaven and earth. All kinds of powerful auras came and went from all over the Eastern Wilderness. This was the biggest event in the Eastern Wilderness every 10,000 years. Countless people were paying attention. It could be said that the Xianyuan Supreme's relic had attracted the attention of countless people. The Kunlun Sacred Ground, Luotian Sacred Ground, Yaoguang Sacred Ground, Jade Lake Sacred Ground, and other major forces were participating. At the same time, the news of the Langya Sacred Ground exploring the Xianyuan Supreme's relic also spread. For a moment, all the major forces were shocked. Everyone knew that because of what happened 30,000 years ago, the Langya Sacred Ground no longer participated in the opening of the relic. However, they were going to enter the relic this time, which caused countless guesses. Regardless, the entire Eastern Wilderness was in turmoil on this day. Chapter 148. The northern part of the Eastern Wilderness was a vast expanse. Not a single blade of grass grew there all year round, and there was no sign of life at all. Looking over, one could only see a vast expanse of desolation. Ferocious beasts would appear from time to time, displaying a bloodthirsty and cruel scene. The northern part of the Eastern Wilderness was famous for being barren. Usually, no one would come to this godforsaken place. However, today was a little special. It was very different from the past. A large number of martial artists had gathered in this desolate land. In the distant sky, rainbow lights kept flashing over. More and more martial artists were gathering here. And the reason that attracted these martial artists was the Supreme Being's ruins. The Xianyuan Supreme Being's ruins, which opened once every 10,000 years, would open again today. At this moment, the human sacred grounds, sects, and itinerant martial artists were all rushing over to the Xianyuan Supreme Being's ruins. Although there was still some time before the ruins opened, there was already a sea of people outside the ruins. At this moment, the crowd outside the ruins was consciously divided into 3 groups. The outermost group was undoubtedly the itinerant martial artists from all over the Eastern Wilderness. Itinerant martial artists were weak and had low status. Naturally, they were not qualified to stand in front of the human sacred grounds and disciples of the sections. The area in the middle was naturally the top sects of the Eastern Wilderness. Compared to itinerant martial artists, the disciples of these sects were much stronger. They also had powerful cultivators in their sections. Naturally, they could occupy a good spot. And standing at the front was the area closest to the ruins. This place naturally belonged to the 7 sacred grounds of the human race. As one of the 7 sacred grounds of the human race, they had a long history and an extremely deep foundation. The strength of the sacred grounds was enough to make the other forces in the Eastern Wilderness look up to them. Such a foundation was nothing compared to the 4 imperial dynasties of the Central Plains. In the Eastern Wilderness, the 7 sacred grounds of the human race were like rulers. The best spots were naturally reserved for them. At this moment, all the cultivators who had arrived outside the relic were staring at the void with respectful expressions. In the void, divine light would shine from time to time. There were also waves of spatial fluctuations. Boom. At this moment, an earth-shattering roar resounded. In the next moment, a giant ship the size of a small mountain appeared in the void. It seemed to have pierced through the void and the clouds, suddenly appearing in front of everyone's eyes. The ship radiated endless divine light. A scorching sun hovered at the bow of the ship, while a bright moon hung at the stern. The ship deity looked like it was made of heavenly rocks from outer space. It was extremely sturdy and exuded a heavy and desolate aura. This is the Kunlun Holy Land's supreme-grade magic artifact, the Sun Moon spaceship. Could it be the Saintess of Kunlun? Only the Saintess of Kunlun has come? Where is the Holy Son of Kunlun? That's something you're unaware of. According to rumor, the Holy Son of Kunlun has already attained the peak of the Imperial Dao realm, and he's in closed-door cultivation to break through into the Dharma characteristic realm. So he didn't come here. Everyone started discussing after seeing the aura in the void. However, right at that moment, another shocking roar came from the void. A mighty and domineering ancient war chariot appeared in the void, covering the sky and emitting a boundless aura. The ancient war chariot was completely red, as if it was made of fresh blood. It was filled with a murderous aura. On the ancient chariot, figures appeared one after another. The man was handsome and the woman was beautiful. It was as if immortals had descended to the mortal world. Such an aura was not inferior even when compared to the Kunlun Holy Land. It even suppressed the Kunlun Holy Land. This is the All-Heaven Holy Land of the All-Heaven Holy Land. It should be the Holy Son of All Heaven. As expected of the Holy Son of All Heaven. I heard that the Holy Son of All Heaven even wants to compete with the Holy Son of Kunlun. Sigh, I wish I could draw my sword and fight with such a person. Below, countless itinerant cultivators had miserable expressions. Those who were able to come here were all the best in their respective fields. However, compared to the Holy Son of the various Holy Lands, they were like ants. Just as everyone was in a state of extreme shock, another series of rumbles rang out from the void. Then the people of the Jade Lake Holy Land, Wavering Light Holy Land, Azure Cloud Holy Land, and Exquisite Holy Land appeared one after another. Every appearance of the various human races' holy lands was earth-shattering, shocking everyone's hearts. Facing the 7 holy lands, even the disciples of the top sects felt a chill in their hearts. It was only at this moment that they realized that the foundation of the 7 holy lands of the human race was far from what they could compare to. Even the Linglong Holy Land, which had been established for the shortest time and was lacking in foundation, was not someone they could provoke. Legend had it that the Linglong Holy Leader was the first holy leader of the Eastern Wilderness. Her strength was unrivaled in the entire Eastern Wilderness. Who would dare to provoke the Linglong Holy Land? Why hasn't the Langya Holy Land appeared yet? Yeah. Didn't the Langya Holy Land say that they will participate in the opening of the Supreme Relic? I don't know. Could it be fake news? Some people were discussing and guessing the reason. However, at this moment, there was another fluctuation in the void. In the next moment, a black hole appeared in the void. Rays of golden light shot out from the black hole. Then an ancient chariot shrouded in purple light slowly appeared from the black hole. A terrifying aura suddenly swept out in all directions. A purple figure appeared on the ancient chariot. There was a purple sun behind him, showing off his peerless talent. Is that the Xiang Holy Sun? Looks like the one from the Langya Holy Land is the Xiang Holy Sun. Actually, it's within our expectations. The Holy Son of Haoyin is famous and talented, but he is still too weak. Some people said. They thought that only the Xiang Holy Son of the Langya Holy Land could be compared with the Holy Son of the other Holy Lands. Nain, however, at this moment, 9 dragon blood heavenly horses appeared on auspicious clouds. The loud roar made some of the powerful cultivators' blood boil. They could not believe it. Everyone turned around and saw a golden jade chariot being pulled by the 9 dragon blood heavenly horses. The light emitted from the jade chariot shone on the vast land. 9 dragon blood heavenly horses at the peak of the 10th stage of the True Essence realm. Such a big lineup? Is that the Holy Son of Haoyin from the Langya Holy Land? He's here? Wasn't he only at the Yuan Dan realm? Is he going to compete with the Holy Son? Many people were shocked. They did not expect the Holy Son of Haoyin to be here. Even the disciples of the other Holy Lands turned around and looked at the golden jade chariot. They were all in deep thought. No one said anything. However, at this moment, the Holy Son of the Qingyun Holy Land, Donghua Holy Son, turned around. He squinted his eyes and there was a green glow in his eyes. The first true disciple of the Qingyun Holy Land died in the hands of the Holy Son of Haoyin. Without much hesitation, Long Donghua smiled. Since no one wants to take the initiative to test the waters, Chen Zhengfa, you go and check it out. Beside Long Donghua, a true disciple of the Qingyun Holy Land who was at the 10th stage of the Yuan Dan realm nodded. He walked out and looked at Jun Haoyin's jade chariot. I heard that there is a Holy Son of Haoyin in the Langya Holy Land. Why don't you show your true face? That true disciple of the Qingyun Holy Land spoke. His voice was like thunder. His purpose was to let everyone hear him. For a direct disciple to call out to the saint, there was no need for them to oppose each other in terms of status. This was a naked provocation. As expected, everyone turned around. They wanted to see how the holy son of Haoyin would react. However, no one expected Feng Xiaoyao and the others to frown. However, there was no reaction from the Jade Chariot. I thought the holy son of Haoyin was some kind of genius. Now it seems like he's just a coward. Qin Zhengfa, the true disciple of the Qingyun Holy Land, saw that he was ignored and mocked. His words had offended the holy son's dignity. At this moment, a calm voice came from the Jade Chariot. Where did this wild dog come from? Feng Xiaoyao, slap him. As soon as this was said, countless people were shocked. Did he say that the true disciple of the Qingyun Holy Land was a wild dog? He even wanted to slap the face of the Qingyun Holy Land in front of everyone? The holy son of Haoyin was so arrogant. Chapter 149. Everyone looked at the scene in the sky with different expressions. Looking at how domineering the holy son of great heaven was. Some were shocked. Some were curious. The 7 great saint lands of the human race were ranked. However, in terms of foundation, there was not much difference between the great saint lands. In fact, their foundation was almost the same as the most powerful experts. Everything that happened in the Sky Demon region had already spread among the major forces. However, rumors were rumors after all. What happened in the extraterritorial space was not witnessed by anyone. Moreover, when they found out that Jun Haoyin's cultivation base was only at Yuandan realm, many of them doubted Jun Haoyin's strength. At this moment, most of them were certain that the Holy Son of Great Heaven would not dare to do anything to the true disciple of the Qingyun Saint Lands in public. Although the true disciple's status was not as high as the Holy Son of the Saint Lands. However, even in the entire Wuxian continent, he was considered one of the best among the younger generation. At this moment, Qin Zhengfa of the Qingyun Saint Lands heard the words from the Jade Chariot. He was so angry that he laughed. Hit me. I'll see who dares to hit me. After saying that, he took another step toward the Jade Chariot and released the aura from his body. It was a blatant provocation. Unfortunately, Feng Xiaoyao was not impressed by his actions at all. As the number 1 true disciple of the Langya Saint Lands, other than the holy son of the various Saint Lands, he was not afraid of anyone. Subsequently, a cold light flashed in Feng Xiaoyao's eyes as he slowly took a step forward. As he took a step forward, an aura that belonged to the peak of Yuandan realm suddenly spread in the sky. To Feng Xiaoyao, the holy son of great heaven's words were his will. No matter what price he had to pay, he had to do it. In just an instant, Feng Xiaoyao appeared in front of Qin Zhengfa. Slap. An extremely crisp sound rang out in the void. A palm print appeared on the face of the Qingyun Saint Land's true disciple, Qin Zhengfa. Seeing this scene, everyone's faces were filled with extreme shock. There was a look of disbelief on their faces. This true disciple of the Langya sacred ground actually dared to be so arrogant? This scene attracted the attention of the various holy lands, and they all had a trace of surprise on their faces. After being slapped by Feng Xiaoyao, Qin Zhengfa was dumbfounded. Although his strength was considered to be one of the best among the true disciples, he was still a true disciple. However, in the face of Feng Xiaoyao, the number 1 true disciple of Langya, he had no room to fight back. Before he could react, Feng Xiaoyao had already slapped him in the face. By the time he reacted, Feng Xiaoyao had already returned to the jade carriage. It was as if nothing had happened. He calmly walked to the front of the jade carriage and said respectfully, "Holy Son, the wild dog has been taught a lesson." As soon as these words came out, everyone raised their eyebrows. This true disciple of Langya actually had such boldness. When the disciples of the Langya Holy Land saw this, they felt a surge of emotions. Such a domineering holy son, such a bold senior brother. It was really admirable. If this happened to them, they would definitely feel angry. However, now they could only feel their blood boiling. As a holy land of the human race, they should be so domineering. Holy son of Haoyin, are you looking down on me, the holy son? At this moment, Dong Bo, holy son of the Qingyun Holy Land, walked out slowly, and a terrifying aura swept out. Rumbling sounds came from the void, and it was shocking. Was this a battle between the Holy Son and the Holy Son? However, in the face of Dong Bo Holy Son's question, the jade carriage did not respond. It was as if they did not hear Dong Bo Holy Son's words. Such an attitude. It was as if they did not take Dong Bo Holy Son seriously. When everyone saw this, they swallowed their saliva. The vast Sky Saint Sun's way of doing things was really arrogant. How dare you hit me? You Holy Sun is just a wild kid from a small place. What right do you have to be so arrogant? At this moment, Qin Jingfa finally snapped out of his daze. When he felt the gazes of the people around him, he went completely crazy. He did not care about his status as he pointed at the jade carriage and scolded. He was humiliated in front of so many people. Now that all the major forces of the Eastern Wilderness were gathered here, he would definitely become the laughingstock of the entire Eastern Wilderness. Boom. However, just as Qin Jingfa finished his words, the entire place began to shake. Dazzling rays of light shot out from the golden jade carriage in the holy land of Langya. Many people squinted their eyes in shock. Then a young man in a purple robe walked out slowly. The young man in the purple robe's black hair fluttered in the wind, and he exuded a huge amount of spiritual essence. This aura, it was too terrifying. As soon as Jun Haoyin appeared, he attracted everyone's attention. At this moment, Jun Haoyin faced the major forces of the Eastern Wilderness for the first time as the Holy Son of the Langya Holy Land. Jun Haoyin raised his head slightly and looked at Qin Jingfa coldly. Boom. Feeling Jun Haoyin's gaze, Qin Jingfa's hair stood on end, and his divine soul trembled. He could feel the boundless killing intent in Jun Haoyin's eyes. Not only him but the people around him also felt the sharp killing intent from Jun Haoyin. The Holy Son of the Holy Land of Luotian, Yaoguang, Linglong, and Jade Lake all looked at him. Boom. In the next moment, without any warning, Jun Haoyin slowly stretched out his right hand. A terrifying amount of true core strength circulated in Jun Haoyin's palm as if it was going to destroy the world. Qin Jingfa was convulsing, and his eyes were filled with disbelief. The Holy Son of Langya was really going to kill him. At the same time, the Holy Son of Dongbo took a step forward, and a green aura bloomed on his body. Holy Son of Haoyin, what are you doing? The Holy Son of Dongbo stared coldly at Jun Haoyin, and his heart was filled with anger. The Holy Son of Haoyin wanted to kill him in front of him. Initially, he thought that this sentence would make Jun Haoyin fearful. However, he did not expect to see Jun Haoyin's body flashing in the next moment. His body was already in front of Qin Jingfa, and Jun Haoyin's hand was completely on top of Qin Jingfa's head. Poof! As it gently descended, Qin Jingfa's body instantly exploded. In an instant, a bloody mist filled the sky and fell down like a rain of blood. Countless people looked at this scene in horror. The Holy Son of Haoyin. How arrogant! How arrogant! He killed a true disciple of the Qingyun sacred ground in front of the Holy Son of Dongbo. Holy Son of Haoyin, are you going to start a war? Long Dongbo was completely enraged when he saw this scene. His terrifying true essence boiled, and his imperial Dao realm cultivation base surged through the clouds. Some people's hearts trembled. Was he going to start a war with the Holy Sun? At this moment, Jun Haoyin retracted his hand. He did not even turn his head and said with a smile, I'm sorry, I accidentally killed an ant. Holy Son of Dongbo, you don't mind, right? Jun Haoyin turned his head and asked in an indifferent and inquiring tone. Before coming here, he already knew the basic information of the Holy Son of each sacred ground. Naturally, he knew who this person in front of him was. However, his words made countless people's scalps go numb. The itinerant cultivators felt suffocated. What did he mean by accidentally killing an ant? The Holy Son of Haoyin was actually so crazy. Was he not afraid of starting a war between the two sacred grounds? As expected, Long Dongbo retracted his aura after hearing this. A cold smile appeared on his face as he looked at Xiang Holy Sun and said softly, Haoyin Holy Son of Haoyin killed a true disciple of my Qingyun sacred ground, Xiang Holy Sun. What do you think about this? Long Dongbo wanted to make sure that Xiang Holy Sun would not interfere. Although he was very confident in his own strength, he also knew that Xiang Holy Sun was very strong. Jun Haoyin was not weak either. If they joined forces, he might be in an awkward position. It has nothing to do with me. Xiang Holy Sun closed his eyes slightly and did not even turn his head. However, his words made everyone feel that there was something unusual about it. Xiang Holy Sun and Haoyin Holy Sun were not on good terms. That's good. Long Dongbo smiled. He turned to look at Jun Haoyin and slowly walked out. Terrifying true essence swept out, green lotuses spun around him and killing intent surged. A battle between the Holy Sun and Haoyin Holy Sun was about to break out. Chapter 150. In the void, the atmosphere was tense to the extreme. Everyone was watching attentively. They were extremely curious. Was the battle between the Holy Sun going to start early? Logically speaking, the saints would not casually exchange blows with each other. The Holy Sun represented the face of a holy land. If the Holy Sun of a holy land lost, it meant that the current Holy Sun of the Holy Land was not good enough. The Holy Sun was important to the entire Holy Land. He was extremely important. He might inherit the position of Holy Master in the future. How could he be a mediocre person? Losing early. It was very likely that the upper echelons of the Holy Land would be dissatisfied. Thus, the Holy Sun's position would be abolished. No one expected this. The Xianyuan Supreme Relic hadn't opened yet, but the battle between the Holy Sun was going to start early? Moreover, after this scene, everyone had new thoughts about the Holy Sun of Haoyin. This Holy Sun of Haoyin was much stronger and more powerful than the rumors said. Boom. Long Dongbua slowly walked out, and a green lotus bloomed in his hand. An incomparably vast aura swept out in all directions. Feeling this aura, everyone was terrified and hurriedly retreated a few miles. They were afraid that they would be affected by the aftermath. Holy Sun of Haoyin, Holy Sun of Dongbua, please stop. Just as Long Dongbua was about to make his move, a voice rang out. The person who came was actually Fang Shilong, a direct disciple of the Wavering Light Sacred Land. Because of the death of his elder brother, Fang Xiu, he was now the #1 direct disciple of the Wavering Light Sacred Land. However, with his strength, he was undoubtedly overestimating himself if he thought that he could interfere in the battle between the two Holy Sun. I'm here on the orders of my Holy Sun to remind the two of you that the Supreme Relic is about to open. I hope the two of you can stop. Fang Shilong's posture was very humble, and his face was full of smiles. At this moment, he represented the Holy Sun of the Wavering Light Sacred Land. He represented the Holy Sun of the Wavering Light Sacred Land. The Holy Sun of Dongbua, Long Dongbua's expression didn't change at all when he heard this. The killing intent on his body was still extremely sharp. Obviously, he hadn't changed his mind because of the light-shaking Holy Sun's words. Holy Sun of Dongbua, please give my Holy Sun some face. When the time comes, you'll have plenty of opportunities to make your move in the Sovereign Ruins. Seeing that the Holy Sun was still preparing to attack, Fang Shilong transmitted his voice to Long Dongbua. He still had to give face to the Holy Sun. The Holy Sun nodded and looked at Jun Haoyin. 30,000 years ago, a Holy Sun from your Langya Holy Land fell in the Supreme Relic. 30,000 years later, it will still be the same. After saying this, Dongbo Holy Sun directly returned to his own place and did not attack Jun Haoyin again. Died here? Hehe, I have no intention of letting you all leave here alive. Looking at Long Dongbua's back as he left, Jun Haoyin's eyes flashed with a cold light. Since Long Dongbua didn't plan to attack, Jun Haoyin didn't want to start a fight in public. Even if he defeated Long Dongbua, it wouldn't be good to kill him directly. After all, Long Dongbua was the Holy Sun. Killing him would be troublesome. Therefore it was best to fight in the Supreme Relic. Thinking of this, Jun Haoyin prepared to leave. But at this moment, Fang Shilong's voice sounded. Holy Sun of Haoyin, my Holy Sun also said that he hopes to have a showdown with you in the Supreme Relic. Fang Shilong didn't hide his words at all and announced it openly. When the people below heard this, they were all shocked. The Holy Sun of Haoyin was actually so arrogant. Not only did he offend Dongbo Holy Sun, but he also offended the Alcade Holy Sun at the same time. No matter how strong the Holy Sun of Haoyin was, it was impossible for him to face the attacks of two Holy Suns at the same time. Seeing this scene, Jun Moyo and Feng Xiaoyao couldn't help but frown. This situation seemed to be very unfavorable for the Holy Sun. When Jun Haoyin heard Fang Shilong's words, he slowly looked at him and said softly, "Is your big brother called Fang Xiu?" Hearing this, Fang Shilong's figure suddenly stopped. Jun Haoyin's face showed a trace of ridicule. "Well, your big brother is really weak. He died without even taking a punch." When these words came out, everyone could see that Fang Shilong's body suddenly trembled. When the people below heard Jun Haoyin's words, they suddenly felt a chill in their hearts. The Holy Sun of Haoyin really didn't want to suffer any losses. He directly opened other people's scars. This was too offensive. Holy Sun of Haoyin, you must be joking. The winner takes all. After saying this coldly, Fang Shilong left the place directly. At this moment, Fang Shilong swore in his heart. In the ruins of Xianyuan Supreme, he must make this so-called Holy Sun of Haoyin die without a burial place. Seeing the murderous intent exuding from Fang Shilong's body, Jun Haoyin smiled. He clearly wanted to kill him, but he didn't dare to make a move. With such a temperament, how could he cultivate the supreme martial Tao? Holy Sun, At this moment, Feng Xiaoyao and the others came forward with a worried look on their faces. Obviously they were worried about Long Dong Bo and the Holy Son of Alcade. Don't worry, even if the two of them join forces, I'm not afraid. Jun Haoyin directly waved his hand. He naturally knew what Feng Xiaoyao and the others were worried about. After saying this, Jun Haoyin's figure flashed and directly returned to the jade carriage. Haoyin Holy Son and Dong Bo Holy Son of Haoyin didn't fight. Everyone below heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, these two gods didn't fight. Otherwise, many unlucky people would have suffered. Then the atmosphere returned to calm. Everyone was waiting quietly for the ruins to open. At this moment in the golden jade carriage, Jun Haoyin sat cross-legged, and there were strands of heaven and earth essence chi around him. There were many exquisite formations set up in the golden jade carriage. In terms of cultivation effect, it wasn't inferior to the cultivation hall of Haoyin Divine Palace at all. However, Jun Haoyin didn't choose to improve besides adapting to his own strength. After the Imperial Tao realm, cultivation isn't just about sufficient energy. It also requires comprehension of heaven and earth. Unfortunately, I'm blank in this aspect. Jun Haoyin muttered to himself. By relying on the past Amitabha Sutra, Jun Haoyin's soul had become extremely strong. But just this alone wasn't enough for him to comprehend heaven and earth. Cultivation in the Imperial Tao realm wasn't simple. It required the soul, energy, and comprehension. Not a single one of these could be lacking. The first two weren't difficult for Jun Haoyin, but the last one required comprehension. Jun Haoyin was in a slightly difficult position. I hope this sovereign ruins will be helpful to me. After that, Jun Haoyin discarded the distracting thoughts in his heart and started to concentrate on cultivating the past Amitabha Sutra. This supreme soul refinement technique was sufficiently formidable. However, at this moment, Jun Haoyin had already added his own comprehension into it. The soul in the Sea of Souls didn't look like a Buddha any longer. It was an emperor that sat on a throne in the sky. The appearance of this emperor was actually exactly the same as Jun Haoyin. This was the direction of Jun Haoyin's cultivation. He didn't believe in Buddhism, respect immortals, or worship gods. He only respected heaven and earth and only believed in himself. Therefore, this divine soul emperor was himself. It didn't need to be anyone else. It was precisely because of this that Jun Haoyin underwent a subtle change when he cultivated the past Amitabha Sutra. Right now he was constantly exuding a domineering aura. He was really like an emperor sitting high in the sky, suppressing heaven and earth. However, there was still a long way to go for Jun Haoyin to reach the supreme realm. But he was confident that as long as he continued to move forward, he would eventually be able to reach the supreme realm. Rumble. Right at this moment, a rumbling sound appeared in the sky. A vast aura spread out. A peerless and invincible aura spread out, causing all things to be destroyed. This aura was too terrifying and it surpassed everything. As for Jun Haoyin, he had only sensed it on Langya Zizi when he received the 9 Holy Sun imprints. He directly walked out of the jade carriage. Not far away the void fluctuated. It was boundlessly terrifying. Supreme Xuanyuan's ruins had been opened. Chapter 151. At this moment, the world was in turmoil. Everyone's eyes were focused on the spatial fluctuations. Thinking that the relic was about to open, everyone's eyes were shining with excitement. This was the supreme relic. It could only be opened once every 10,000 years. It was definitely an opportunity that could only be encountered by chance. In the martial god continent, only supreme experts who had reached the immortal realm could live for 10,000 years. Those below the immortal realm would slowly die of old age in just a few thousand years. They wouldn't have the chance to wait until the next supreme relic opened. Therefore, for everyone present, this was very likely to be their only chance. Even the saintesses of the various sacred grounds and the Holy Sun were no exception. They all appeared and watched the changes in the world. Rumble. A terrifying aura shook the void, constantly erupting with powerful pressure. Thousands of miles of clouds gathered in the void, and purple thunder exploded from time to time. Endless light exploded as if it was going to pierce through the eyes. Buzz. At this moment, a shocking rumble sounded from the void. Jun Haoyin narrowed his eyes slightly and looked forward. There, a huge bronze door that was tens of thousands of feet tall slowly appeared from the void. On the huge bronze door, ancient words were carved. At this moment, the huge bronze door was open. Inside the ancient door, there was a vast aura gushing out. It was as if there was a vast world inside. It stood on this wasteland as if it was telling a long story. And on the door, 2 ancient characters were carved. Shenyuan. If one wanted to enter the Shenyuan Supreme Relic, they should enter through this door. After this huge bronze door appeared, everyone present was excited and eager to give it a try. But no one took the lead to move. It was because there was a thick fog in front of the huge bronze door. This thick fog exuded a dangerous aura. Everyone was waiting quietly. After about half an hour, the thick fog surrounding the huge bronze door finally dissipated. Boom. At this moment, countless air-piercing sounds sounded in the void. In the direction of the Kunlun sacred land, the huge sun-moon destroyer suddenly disappeared. Only hundreds of streams of light were left rushing toward the huge bronze door. After the thick fog dissipated, the Supreme Relic was completely opened. Let's go. The Supreme Being's relic has opened. The treasures inside are all mine. I want to become a man above all others. Haha, the relic that only opens once every 10,000 years has finally arrived. Countless people roared as they turned into streaks of light and rushed in. However, when a portion of the people rushed through the bronze gate, beams of golden light suddenly shot out from within. The golden light pierced through their bodies, killing them on the spot. Clearly, these people were over 200 years old. He wanted to fish in troubled waters. Idiot. Seeing this, Zhuozhongtong, the holy son of Luotian Holy Land, sneered and slowly stepped into the bronze gate. At this moment, all the forces were moving towards the giant bronze gate. Xiang Holy Sun did the same and led his people through the door. Jun Haoyin and the others naturally wouldn't stay behind and led the group out. Before entering the giant bronze door, he instructed everyone. After entering the ruins, the most important task was to stay alive. A short moment later, everyone under the age of 200 entered the ruins. After stepping through the bronze gate, Jun Haoyin felt the space around him turn upside down, and then he discovered that he had arrived in another world. The world within the Shenyuan Supreme Relic was vast and boundless. Here, countless powerful and chaotic origin chi were constantly fluctuating. The blood-red gales here were like sharp blades that could easily cut through the bodies of true energy realm cultivators. Jun Haoyin circulated the origin chi within his body and enveloped himself to avoid coming into contact with the chaotic origin chi around him. No matter how powerful the blood-red gales were, they couldn't approach him at all. According to the ancient records, Shenyuan's Supreme Relic was a formation grandmaster. The ruins he left behind definitely have countless grand formations set up. Jun Haoyin spoke slowly as he looked at everything around him. This time he had two goals for entering the Sovereign's Relic. The first was to search for some fortuitous encounters that could help him break through into the Imperial Dao realm. The second was to follow the orders of the Holy Lord of Langya, Tao Xian, to search for the remains of the Holy Son of Langya, Bai Minghan, who'd perished 30,000 years ago. At this moment, all he could see around him was a stretch of desolation. He didn't even see a single building. Presumably, the others had encountered similar circumstances as he had. However, all of this wasn't a problem for Jun Haoyin. He directly took a step forward, and in an instant the sun and moon seemed to have turned upside down. This was a teleportation technique that could instantly traverse 500 kilometers. However, Jun Haoyin noticed to his surprise that he was actually still within this barren expanse after he executed the teleportation technique. Looks like I've fallen into a formation. Jun Haoyin came to an understanding. Since it was a formation, then there was naturally a core of the formation. So long as he broke through the core of the formation, then he would be able to leave this place. When he thought up to here, Jun Haoyin directly released the energy of his soul. Boom. The entire heavens and the earth seemed to be beneath his feet. Blood-red gales, the boundless heavens and the earth and every grain of sand. Everything was extremely clear. There's someone here. Right at this moment, Jun Haoyin actually sensed an extremely formidable aura. In the next moment, Jun Haoyin didn't hesitate to move swiftly towards the source of the aura. This was a completely different place from before, and it was filled with jagged rocks of strange shapes. Each blood-colored boulder was as big as a mountain. Moreover, these rocks were arranged in a rather strange manner, and they seemed like the core of a formation. The core of the formation should be here. A white-clothed young woman stood slowly outside the grand formation. The young woman floated in midair while her long hair fluttered in the wind. Her peerlessly beautiful face was like the most perfect work of art carved by the heavens. Merely standing there made her seem like a celestial maiden that had descended to the mortal world. It was just that she looked too cold and distant, keeping people 1,000 miles away. Such a woman was rarely seen in the entire eastern wilderness. At this moment, the young woman held a sword in her hand, and it emanated extremely sharp sword intent. This sword was actually a top-grade magic artifact. Without any hesitation, a terrifying and resolute aura erupted from her body. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying aura of the Imperial Tao realm emanated from her, and she seemed like a goddess that had descended. A moment later, she slowly stepped into the grand formation. What's going on? A short moment later, the young woman's red lips parted slightly and she frowned slightly. What she expected didn't occur. Could it be that this isn't the core of the formation? Right at this moment, the entire grand formation started to tremble violently. A few thousand rocks exploded apart, and then numerous figures that seemed like evil spirits walked out from within. Every single one of them emanated the aura of the Imperial Tao realm. Shit. We've been tricked. The young woman's expression changed slightly. She'd underestimated the grand formation. A moment later she intended to leave. However, the grand formation had been activated, so it was difficult for her to leave. Right at this moment, a young man suddenly appeared and drew the young woman's attention. A good chance. No one hesitated at all. The young woman's sword trembled slightly. It directly activated the grand formation beneath the young man's feet. The young man was naturally Jun Haotian. As soon as he appeared, a ray of sword light charged beneath his feet. After that, a few hundred rocks exploded, and a few dozen strands of evil aura charged out. She's actually trying to divert the calamity. Chapter 152. As soon as he stepped foot into this place, Jun Haotian was stunned. He immediately looked towards those evil figures, and there wasn't a trace of panic on his face. When Jun Haotian saw those evil figures clearly, he was shocked to discover that they were all mummified existences. Even though these mummified corpses were covered in blood, the clothes they wore were clearly discernible. Jun Haotian was able to discern their origins. There were members of the Wavering Light Holy Land, All Heaven Holy Land, and the Yin-Yang sect amongst these mummified corpses. Now they're all dead. Jun Haotian guessed in his heart. These mummified corpses should be the ancestors of the various holy lands that had entered the sovereign's ruins. They'd perished after entering the ruins, and then their bodies had been controlled by the formations within the ruins. At this moment they'd completely lost their consciousness, and only their bodies were left with the intent to kill. Sovereign Shen Yuan was an influential figure from hundreds of thousands of years ago, and these ruins had existed for hundreds of thousands of years as well. During this period of time, countless ancestors of the human race had died in these ruins. Moreover, all of them had become a part of the ruins. Jun Haotian naturally wouldn't hold back when he saw these mummified corpses. In the next moment he activated his saint physique, and violent golden blood instantly surged around him while an ocean of essence swept towards the surroundings. After that, Jun Haotian circulated the strength of the hell-crushing divine elephant. This supreme cultivation technique could suppress hell forever and dispel all evil. Even though these mummified corpses were at the Emperor realm, their strength came from the formation. Jun Haotian unleashed his full strength, and these mummified corpses were unable to resist at all and exploded into pieces. However, to Jun Haotian's surprise, after these mummified corpses exploded, the blood and qi that filled the air would converge once more. It was simply impossible to kill them all. Jun Haotian couldn't help but frown slightly when he saw this scene. Holy Sun Haotian, the Moon Phoenix is eternally grateful for your help today. Right at this moment, a clear and cold voice sounded out. It was the white-clothed young woman who'd lured Jun Haotian into the formation earlier. The young woman's strength was formidable as well. Even though she had over 100 Emperor Realm corpses by her side, they still couldn't approach her. Rumor has it that the Jade Lake Saintess, Guyue Huang, is the #1 goddess in the Eastern Barren Territory. Now that I've seen you today, you're only SOSO? How can such a despicable act deserve to be called a goddess? Jun Haotian looked at the girl in white and sneered. He naturally knew the identity of this young girl. She was none other than the Jade Lake Saintess. She was known as the first saintess of the Eastern Wilderness. She was more beautiful than all the women in the Eastern Wilderness. Even the princes of the 4 great empires of the Middle Plains and the prodigies of the demon race of the Southern Mountain Range admired her. Jun Haotian was annoyed by the fact that the Jade Lake Saintess had resorted to such means on their first meeting. Haha, Holy Son of Haotian must be joking. The Moon Phoenix can't afford it. I'll leave it to you, Holy Son of Haotian. Guyue Huang said, her voice as clear as a silver bell. If it was any other man who heard Guyue Huang's sweet request, they would have immediately reacted. Even if he had to go through water and tread on fire, he would still complete the mission. Guyue Huang was indeed very beautiful. It could be said that Guyue Huang was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen since he came to this world. There was a saying in the cultivation world, no cultivator is ugly. Anyone who could cultivate would not be ugly. But their temperaments were worlds apart. The Jade Lake Saintess, Guyue Huang, was the most beautiful in both appearance and temperament. Guyue Huang said slowly. Then she turned into a beam of light and was about to leave. Jade Lake Saintess, since fate has brought us together again, why are you in such a hurry to leave? Why don't you share such beautiful scenery with us? Wouldn't that be a pity? Seeing this, Jun Haoyin's lips curled into a mocking smile. Then a vast and boundless aura burst out from his body. He slowly threw out a punch. It was like a falling meteor. The next moment, the entire array was shaking. Countless boulders exploded. After Jun Haoyin and his group landed, at least hundreds of dried corpses were released. Haha! In the next moment, countless dried corpses broke through the air. An extremely evil aura swept through the entire space. No matter how powerful Guyue Huang was, it was difficult for her to resist so many dried corpses. Boom! The horrifying aura spread. The array covered an area with a radius of thousands of miles. The Jade Lake Saintess, Guyue Huang, was forced back by the numerous dried corpses. Seeing that she could not escape from the array, Guyue Huang was furious. At the same time, Jun Haoyin smashed dozens of dried corpses around him with a punch. In the next moment, Jun Haoyin attacked Guyue Huang with a terrifying aura. Seeing this, Guyue Huang, the Jade Lake Saintess, was stunned. She felt aggrieved. Is this necessary? Didn't I just set you up once? Do you have to attack me in the array? Anger rose in her heart. In the next moment, Guyue Huang clenched the long sword in her hand and swung it. Dazzling lotus flowers appeared. These dazzling lotus flowers contained shocking sword intent. All the dried corpses that came into contact with the lotus flowers exploded and died. At the same time, a portion of the lotus flowers swept towards Jun Haoyin. Both sides actually disregarded the danger that existed within the array and directly started fighting. After all, there were countless dried corpses at the Imperial Dao realm surrounding them. Even if these dried corpses weren't very strong, their ability to not die was extremely disgusting. As long as the array remained intact, these dried corpses could be revived endlessly. At this moment, Guyue Huang was clearly aware that it was utterly impossible for her to break through the array by herself. Now, only by working together with Jun Haoyin would she be able to break through the array. But with Jun Haoyin's current attitude, it was utterly impossible for him to work together with her. At that moment, Guyue Huang was determined to defeat Jun Haoyin, force him to submit. But as time passed, she noticed to her shock that, no matter what methods she used, the holy son of Haoyin dealt with them with ease. What surprised her even more was that the methods Jun Haoyin used against her were extremely difficult to deal with. If this continued, it was very likely that she would be the one to lose when the time came. Holy son of Haoyin, it won't benefit anyone if this continues. Guyue Huang spoke. She knew that this couldn't continue. It's fine. I have plenty of true origin. Jun Haoyin smiled when he heard this. She tricked him. How could she not pay the price? So what if she was the #1 holy maiden of the eastern wilderness? He didn't take her seriously at all. Bang! Another punch blasted out, and hundreds of dried corpses exploded into a bloody mist. Such a domineering stance caused Guyue Huang's expression to change slightly. He's so strong. But he's too narrow-minded. But when she thought about it, she really was the one who attacked first. When she thought up to here, Guyue Huang said helplessly, Holy son of Haoyin, I was indeed in the wrong earlier. I apologize to you. How about we work together to break through the array? However, Jun Haoyin had no intention of paying attention to her at all. He still stood on the spot, and as he repelled the dried corpses, he launched another attack at her. Of course, Jun Haoyin didn't want to kill Guyue Huang, regardless of the other party's identity. Because of Nalan Shui, it could be said that she had some ties with the Jade Lake sacred ground. With so many reasons, Jun Haoyin naturally wouldn't kill her. But no matter what, he still had to let this holy maiden suffer some pain. Anyway, no one could get out now. Seeing that Jun Haoyin ignored her, Guyue Huang trembled all over. Obviously she was angry. But in the next moment, she calmed down and spoke again. In this great bloodstone array, there is an extremely large number of divine meteorite bloodstones. After breaking through the array, you and I will split it 50-50. As soon as these words came out, Jun Haoyin narrowed his eyes slightly. The divine meteorite bloodstones contained terrifying power and were extremely beneficial to the cultivation of the imperial path. Unfortunately, there were very few of them in the Wuxia continent. The Haoyin sacred ground didn't have much in stock, and there were many uses for it. Therefore they usually wouldn't take it out easily. He didn't expect that there would be such a divine item here. Sure enough, he came to the right place. But she wanted to send Jun Haoyin away with half? Impossible. So he said directly, "I want all of it." Chapter 153. I want all of them. Hearing Jun Haoyin's arrogant words, Guyue Huang's expression suddenly froze. She looked at Jun Haoyin in disbelief. To be honest, she had never thought that Jun Haoyin would be so greedy. If not for the fact that she needed Jun Haoyin to break the array and that Jun Haoyin was so powerful, she would have drawn her sword and attacked him. Burning with anger, Guyue Huang waved the sword in her hand, and lotus flowers flew out from her body. Each lotus flower shot out thousands of rays of light. A sharp aura surged out from her hand. The hundreds of dried corpses around her exploded and turned into a bloody mist. That was a shocking move. After venting her anger, Guyue Huang did not choose to attack Jun Haoyin. She took a deep breath and forced herself to calm down. Holy son of Hao Tian, Yue Huang sincerely wants to work with you. You and I can't break this array by ourselves. If you want to break it, we have to work together. Holy son of Hao Tian, I hope you will think twice before you act. Guyue Huang looked at Jun Haoyin and tried her best to persuade him. At that moment she was also feeling a little depressed. Since she was young, she had been the center of attention and had been pampered since she was young. Everyone who met her was full of respect and admiration. No one had ever treated her the way Jun Haoyin had treated her before. It's okay. My true origin is rich. I'm not afraid at all. Hearing that, Jun Haoyin spoke slowly. From beginning to end, his face remained calm and indifferent. You led the trouble to me and trapped me in this array. If not for my strength, I would have been buried here. You want to get rid of me with a mere 50% of the divine meteorite bloodstone? Guyue Huang, aren't you too naive? Jun Haoyin said coldly as he looked at Guyue Huang. He had never been a person who would take advantage of others. She had put herself in such a dangerous situation, and now she was still shamelessly asking him to cooperate with her. Hearing Jun Haoyin's words, Guyue Huang was instantly enraged. Ever since he was young, no one had dared to speak to him like this. However, after thinking about it for a moment, she realized that she was indeed in the wrong. I was indeed at fault in this matter. However, it's impossible for you to obtain all of them. I'll give you 60%. Gritting his teeth, Jun Haoyin made another concession. Actually, she already knew the method to break the formation. If it weren't for the fact that she couldn't break the array by herself, she would have already fallen out with Jun Haoyin. Jun Haoyin also understood this, which was why he was fearless. Before deciding to enter the sovereign's remains, Jun Haoyin had already learned about all the geniuses in the eastern wilderness. The Jade Lake Saintess was no exception. It was rumored that the Jade Lake Saintess was well versed in the art of formations. Perhaps he had already found a way to break the formation. And most importantly, legend had it that the Xianyuan supremacy was related to the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. The Jade Lake Sacred Ground had always suffered the least losses when the Xianyuan supremacy's remains were opened. Perhaps the Jade Lake Saintess could be used. In his heart, Jun Haoyin didn't want to continue wasting time here. The sovereign's remains would only be opened for a limited time. He couldn't waste too much time here. However, 60% wasn't enough to satisfy him. Therefore Jun Haoyin spoke again slowly, 80%. This is my biggest concession. 80%? Guyue Huang took a deep breath. The holy son of Haoyin really didn't want to lose out at all. Alright. Guyue Huang almost gnashed her teeth as she said this word. She comforted herself in her heart. These things were nothing. Her main goal was to reach that place. As long as she could reach that place, everything would be worth it. Moreover, Guyue Huang had also realized. This so-called holy son of Haoyin's strength was enough to surpass everyone's expectations. She suddenly had an idea in her heart. Although the holy son of Haoyin had a strange temperament, he was very powerful. He was indeed a very good partner. She could work with him temporarily. Along the way, she could rely on his strength to reduce some unnecessary trouble. In short, both of them had their own ulterior motives and were thinking of how to use each other. Then it's settled. Hearing this, Jun Haoyin smiled and immediately released the aura in his body. In an instant, golden qi and blood surged and turned into an ancient golden dragon, shining brightly in the world. At the same time, he took out the exquisite pagoda, which turned into 1,000 feet tall and dropped the power of merit. In the next moment, countless mummified corpses turned into ashes under the power of the purest yang. They couldn't resist at all. Whether it was Jun Haoyin's holy body or the divine elephant overpowering force, they were the nemesis of all evil things. These evil mummified corpses naturally couldn't resist at all. Seeing this, even the Jade Lake Saintess, Guyue Huang, couldn't help but reveal a trace of surprise. Then she slowly exclaimed, "Is this the power of the holy body? It is indeed extraordinary. With this holy son of Hao Tian here, I'm afraid Xiang Holy Son will have a hard time." While Guyue Huang was exclaiming about Jun Haoyin's strength, she wasn't afraid at all. As the only saintess of the Jade Lake sacred ground, she naturally had many trump cards. "Holy son of Hao Tian, you stay here and hold them off. I'll go break the formation eye." After a moment, Guyue Huang suddenly spoke. However, just as she was about to leave, Jun Haoyin said, "Hold on. Leave the matter of breaking the array to me." Hearing this, Guyue Huang was stunned for a moment. Then she reacted and glared at Jun Haoyin. "You don't trust me?" Guyue Huang's beautiful eyes stared at Jun Haoyin, full of anger. Jun Haoyin's words clearly showed that he didn't trust her to break the formation eye. For the first time, Guyue Huang felt so angry. "Jade Lake Saintess, this is the first time we've met. How can you trust me? Anyway, this matter of breaking the formation can only be left to me." However, Jun Haoyin didn't care about her feelings. He sneered and said in a domineering manner, "Fine, just break a piece of bloodstone at the composition." After a long while, Guyue Huang had no choice but to compromise. She slowly told Jun Haoyin the location of the formation eye. Hearing this, Jun Haoyin smiled and left. As for the Jade Lake Saintess, facing the mummies that kept appearing, her eyes were filled with murderous intent. Clang, 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 countless sword lotuses exploded, dazzling and piercing the sky. The entire ground was shaking. Hundreds of mummies were all shattered and turned into nothingness. It seemed that she was venting something. Jun Haoyin glanced at her and ignored her. In the next moment, he appeared at the location Guyue Huang pointed out and punched. Boom. Under this punch, the entire formation collapsed, and countless blood-colored boulders disappeared. Along with all the mummies, they were annihilated and never revived. Obviously, Guyue Huang was telling the truth. It was also at this moment that Jun Haoyin looked ahead. Countless blood-divine stones emitted a scarlet light. They looked extremely strange and contained a huge amount of energy. These were the blood-divine stones of meteorite. There were tens of thousands of them. It was equivalent to the total amount stored in the Langya sacred ground. With these blood-divine stones of meteorite, Jun Haoyin didn't have to worry about cultivating to the early stage of the imperial realm. "Hurry up and take these blood-divine stones. This formation is only temporarily broken and will reform after a while. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to find the formation eye next time." The Jade Lake Saintess, Guyue Huang, stood beside Jun Haoyin and said coldly. Obviously, she was still angry at Jun Haoyin. If it were anyone else, in order to obtain this Eastern Wilderness goddess, he probably wouldn't even want a single blood-divine stone. However, Jun Haoyin clearly didn't have this awareness. He smiled and said, "We agreed. I'll take 80% and you'll take 20%. I, Guyue Huang, always keep my word. Let's go." Hearing this, Guyue Huang couldn't help but feel bitter. For the first time, she felt somewhat miserable. After taking their divine stones, they chose to leave together. It was like a tacit understanding. But as for the reason, only they knew. Chapter 154. In an extremely desolate land, a figure in a purple robe and a figure in a white robe were walking side by side. The two of them were Jun Haoyin and the Jade Lake Holy Maiden, Guyue Huang. Although this was only a relic, it was also a small world with a vast territory. After breaking through the bloodstone array, the two of them had been walking together. During this time, the two of them naturally met other people. However, these people were not from the Langya Sacred Ground or the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. Hence, Jun Haoyin and Guyue Huang did not appear. During this process, Jun Haoyin and Guyue Huang had also completely come to an agreement. During this time in the relic, the two of them would temporarily cooperate. As for the opportunities that they obtained, they would have the priority to choose. As for the opportunities that both of them needed, they would split them equally. Jun Haoyin chose to cooperate with Guyue Huang because of her understanding of the supreme relic. He believed that Feng Xiaoyao, Jun Moyo, and the others should have already met up by now. With their combined strength, unless there was someone like the Holy Sun, there should be no danger. Moreover, before entering the relic, he had left a mark on Jun Moyo. If Jun Moyo was in danger, he would be able to sense it immediately. After resolving these worries, Jun Haoyin immediately decided to obtain the opportunities first. At the same time he would also look for the remains of the holy son of Langya, Bai Ming Han, who had died in the supreme relic 30,000 years ago. Now he and Gu Yuehuang had temporarily formed a team. The core of the Xinyuan supreme relic is not far ahead. There will definitely be many arrays there. You better be careful. After a while, Gu Yuehuang stopped and looked ahead as she reminded Jun Haotian. Hearing this, Jun Haotian immediately looked ahead. About 100 miles ahead, a majestic but very dilapidated palace appeared before his eyes. A faint aura that made one's heart palpitate faintly appeared above the palace. Above the palace, there were many dead stars revolving around it. There were also countless blood-red clouds floating above it. It made the palace look a little strange. To be honest, Jun Haotian was able to arrive here so quickly. It was all thanks to Gu Yuehuang. Along the way he had set up countless origin formations. If one didn't know about formations, then not to mention a monarch realm cultivator, even a transcendence realm expert would find it difficult to leave. At this moment, Jun Haotian finally understood. Why was it that after so many years, so few people were able to enter the core region of the Xinyuan sovereign's remains? According to Gu Yuehuang's words, she had also prepared for a long time to enter the Supreme Being's remains. He had carefully studied many of the letters left behind by the ancestors who had entered the sovereign's relic. Therefore she was able to walk all the way to the core area of the ruins. However, this was the remains of a Supreme Being after all, and it was only through the letters left behind by the ancestors. Gu Yuehuang wasn't sure if there was any danger in the core area. Therefore it was best to have an expert as a helper. After all, every time the Supreme Being's remains opened, many holy son of the hallowed grounds had perished within it. Even the holy son of Langya who'd swept through the younger generation 30,000 years ago had perished within the Xinyuan sovereign's remains. This is the core area of the ruins? Doesn't that mean that it's very likely that the treasures left behind by Xinyuan sovereign are hidden here? Jun Haotian immediately spoke when he heard Gu Yuehuang. A trace of contemplation flashed through Jun Haotian's heart as he gazed at the palace before him. The holy son of Langya from 30,000 years ago, Bai Ming Han, possessed extraordinary talent. It was impossible for him to have perished in the outer area of the ruins. So, it was very likely that he was in the core area. Of course, it's best to be 120% vigilant when you arrive here. Don't blame me for not warning you if you encounter any danger. Gu Yuehuang glanced at Jun Haotian and spoke slowly. After that, Gu Yuehuang transformed into a ray of light that shot towards the palace. Seeing this, Jun Haotian smiled slightly. Then he turned into a stream of light and followed closely behind. With his current strength, he wasn't afraid of the Jade Lake Saint playing any tricks. At the same time, on the other side of the ruins, Xiang Holy Sun stood alone on a desolate mountain peak. Ever since he'd entered the ruins, he'd been waiting here. He didn't look for the disciples of Langya Holy Sun who'd followed him. He didn't head towards the core area of the ruins either. He stayed quietly on the mountain peak as if he was waiting for something. For Xiang Holy Sun, the opportunity in the ruins and the search for Bai Ming Han weren't the most important things. He could take his time to find the opportunity. For him, the most important thing now was to deal with Jun Haotian and Jun Moyo. About 2 hours later, a vast and terrifying aura suddenly descended from the mountain peak. Buzz. In the next moment, a man in armor walked out of the void. His entire body exuded a terrifying battle intent. Standing in the void, he looked like an invincible god of war. Wang Su, why are you looking for me? The man in armor spoke in a thunderous voice. Moreover, the man in armor addressed Xiang Holy Sun by his name. This man was the Holy Son of all heaven, Zhuozhongtong. Behind Zhuozhongtong were a few of the pro-disciples of the Holy Son of all heaven. That's right. Let's wait for everyone to arrive. Hearing this, Xiang Holy Sun nodded and said slowly. Not long after, the Holy Son of Qingyun Holy Sun, Long Dongbua, arrived with his pro-disciples. The Purple Sun Saint Sun still didn't explain. He just waited quietly. This scene seemed to have been predetermined. In the next moment, another figure walked out. It was the number 1 pro-disciple of Yaoguang Holy Sun, Fang Shilong. Is Li Hongqin not coming? Xiang Holy Sun frowned slightly. Hearing this, Fang Shilong smiled and bowed slightly. Our Holy Sun said that he won't be involved in this matter. However, if we are going to deal with Jun Haotian, he will come and watch. This was the pride of the second most powerful person in Eastern Wilderness. The 2 Holy Sun, Zhuozhongtong and Long Dongbua, narrowed their eyes but didn't say anything. As for Xiang Holy Sun, after a moment of silence, he nodded his head as well. The few of them were more than enough to carry out this plan. With the three Holy Sons' help and a series of backup plans, Fang Shilong would be able to deal with them. Jun Haoyin and Jun Moyo wouldn't be able to escape from him. Xiang, I hope you are telling the truth. Don't lie to us. Long Dongbua stared at Xiang Holy Sun and said slowly. If not for what Xiang Holy Sun had said, he wouldn't have come at all. Indeed. It is very rare to have the three Holy Sun work together. I hope I can get what I want. Zhuozhongtong also spoke, but his tone was not very polite. I, Xiang Holy Sun, am a man of my word. Besides, Prince Jiao has already approved of this matter. There will be no problems. Xiang Holy Sun didn't mind the hostility in Long Dongbua and the other two's voices. He knew that these two were proud and arrogant people. If not for this matter, they wouldn't have helped. As expected, the two frowned when they heard Xiang Holy Sun's words. Prince Jiao was famous on the Wuxian continent. He was known as the most powerful monster in the southern region and was as famous as the Holy Sun of Kunlun. He was definitely a terrifying existence. Prince Jiao was also very close to Xiang Holy Sun. Since Xiang Holy Sun had said it himself, it should be true. If that's the case, let's do it. We can also lure Jun Haoyin here. Long Dongbua didn't want to waste any more time. After this matter, he still had to go to the center of the Supreme Ruins to look for opportunities. At the same time, if he could kill the arrogant Holy Sun, that would be great. Holy Sun, follow me. I know where they are. Fang Shilong said with a smile on his face. Jun Haoyin had humiliated him. Fang Shilong was going to make Jun Haoyin pay a heavy price. Xiang Holy Sun stood in front of everyone. His target wasn't Jun Haoyin, nor was it the core area of Xianyuan Supreme's ruins. Of course, this matter was definitely related to Jun Haoyin. Because Xiang Holy Sun's target? It was Jun Moyo. Chapter 155. At that moment, Jun Haoyin and Gu Yuehuang had already entered the palace in the core area. With Gu Yuehuang's help, the two of them overcame all the obstacles and successfully arrived at the entrance of the main palace. If you want to enter the main palace, you must break this formation. Looking at the faint spatial fluctuations around the main palace, Gu Yuehuang's face showed a trace of caution. Hearing that, Jun Haoyin nodded in agreement. Ever since the two of them entered the palace, Jun Haoyin was responsible for dealing with sudden crises, while Gu Yuehuang was mainly responsible for breaking the formation. Regarding array formations, Jun Haoyin could be said to be completely clueless. That was why the two of them had such a division of labor. However, Jun Haoyin had doubts in his heart. The formation of this palace was set up by Prime Xianyuan. How can you break it so easily? Of course, I'm not saying that your ability is not good. I'm just a little confused. Seeing that Gu Yuehuang's expression was strange, Jun Haoyin hurriedly explained. Actually, he had wanted to ask this question for a long time. Along the way, Gu Yuehuang's speed of breaking the formation was shockingly fast. Moreover, Jun Haoyin realized that the formation they went through was not that dangerous. That was what confused Jun Haoyin the most. Although Gu Yuehuang had studied the Supreme Ruins for many years, it was still a Supreme Ruins. But this was the Sovereign Ruins after all. How could it be so weak? Hearing Jun Haoyin's words, Gu Yuehuang was not angry, which was rare. She pondered for a moment and slowly said, back then Prime Xianyuan was known as the #1 formation master. The formations he left behind were naturally exquisite. However, this is a place of inheritance specially left behind by Prime Xianyuan. He also restricted people over 200 years old from entering, so the formations he left behind would naturally not be too strong. Moreover, most of the formations here have been through endless years, and their power has long weakened. Moreover, Prime Xianyuan was not a murderous person. The formations he left behind were not too many killing formations. Moreover, many of the formations here are recorded in the Jade Lake sacred ground. I have already comprehended all of them. After saying that, Gu Yuehuang looked at Jun Haoyin proudly. In terms of formations, Gu Yuehuang could confidently say that no one in the entire eastern wilderness could compare to her. I see. Hearing this, Jun Haoyin nodded with an indifferent expression. Seeing Jun Haoyin's expression, Gu Yuehuang's face was immediately filled with anger. He had said so much, but this guy didn't even say a single word of praise. How infuriating. Then she ignored Jun Haoyin and focused on breaking the array. Just as Gu Yuehuang had said, the formation left behind by Sovereign Xianyuan was powerful. But because Xianyuan Zhixian was on good terms with the Jade Lake sacred ground, there were quite a few records regarding Xianyuan sovereign's formations. Therefore, even with the array outside the main hall, Gu Yuehuang only took an hour to break through it. Although there were some dangers during this period, they were all blocked by Jun Haotian. Of course, like the Bloodstone Array, these formations were only temporarily broken. After a period of time, these formations would be reactivated. After that, if someone came, they would have to break the formation again. Let's go in. There must be danger in the center of the main hall. Don't be careful. Gu Yuehuang's solemn voice came from beside Jun Haotian. Obviously, Gu Yuehuang was also very afraid of the main hall. Jun Haotian nodded and followed Gu Yuehuang slowly inside. He was a little curious. What exactly was the place of inheritance left behind by the Supreme Being like? He was sure that Gu Yuehuang must know something about this main hall. However, he didn't ask. Gu Yuehuang wouldn't tell him even if he asked. Jun Haotian secretly decided that after entering the main hall, he would definitely not let Gu Yuehuang out of his sight. Then the two of them slowly walked into the main hall. Perhaps it was because of the corrosion of countless years, this ancient main hall had become extremely dilapidated. It was filled with a strong desolate aura. However, at the moment, there didn't seem to be any formations inside the main hall. The two of them didn't find any danger for the time being. However, Jun Haotian noticed that there seemed to be traces of a fight inside the main hall. Someone had entered this main hall before. Jun Haotian immediately came to this conclusion. Who was it? Could it be the holy son of Langya, Baiming Han from 30,000 years ago? Jun Haotian secretly guessed. But at this moment, the two of them finally entered the center of the main hall. A strong light shot out as if it was going to pierce their eyes. Even Jun Haotian couldn't open his eyes for a moment. The two of them closed their eyes tightly and directly scanned with their divine soul power. However, they still didn't find anything. The next moment, all the light disappeared. Gu Yuehuang and Jun Haotian looked at each other and then rushed into the main hall. When the two of them saw the scene in the main hall, everything that was reflected in front of them shocked them. They saw that the main hall was empty and there wasn't even a trace of a pattern. It looked even more dilapidated. It didn't look like what everyone had expected at all. A relic left behind by a Supreme Being expert was just like this? Nothing at all? Gu Yuehuang looked at everything in front of her and said with a frown, "How could this be? This is impossible." The ancient books clearly recorded. Jun Haotian's expression changed when he heard this. This Gu Yuehuang really knew something. He looked at the scene in front of him and said with a serious tone, "I once saw in the ancient books that Supreme Being Shenyuan ascended to the realm of the gods, right?" Gu Yuehuang nodded and looked at Jun Haotian with a puzzled expression. She obviously didn't know why Jun Haotian asked such a question. Even if Supreme Being Shenyuan ascended, what's with the ancient bronze coffin in the main hall? Jun Haotian pointed at a certain spot in the main hall and said slowly. Gu Yuehuang looked at the direction where Jun Haotian was pointing at and looked at the center of the main hall. There was a bronze coffin that was 10 feet in size sitting there quietly. As if it had been through countless years, it was rusty and even the patterns on it had disappeared. And on top of the bronze coffin was a huge divine pearl. The light that the two of them discovered just now was released from that divine pearl. Perhaps it was because the light was too bright that the two of them didn't discover this ancient bronze coffin at first. Moreover, Jun Haotian was shocked to discover that. At this moment, the bronze coffin was already half open. It seemed that something had already walked out from inside. It made one feel a little scared. According to the records, Supreme Being Shenyuan ascended to the realm of the gods when his lifespan was less than 500 years. And before that, he had indeed built a coffin for himself. Gu Yuehuang recalled the records of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. Perhaps only the Jade Lake Sacred Ground knew about this. Because the Jade Lake Sacred Ground saintess of that generation was Supreme Being Xuanyuan's companion. "Let's see what's going on first," Jun Haotian said. Gu Yuehuang nodded in agreement. Then the two of them slowly walked to the front of the coffin and saw the scene inside. In an instant, Gu Yuehuang's expression changed drastically, and she took a step back. Jun Haotian didn't say anything and his eyes were extremely cautious. In this bronze coffin there was a piece of human skin. It was a withered but intact old human skin. Even if a cultivator saw this scene, their hair would probably stand on end. "Can you tell who it is?" Gu Yuehuang took a deep breath and immediately focused her gaze on it. She looked at it for a long time and shook her head slightly. The face of this human skin seems to be looking at this divine pearl in front of it. Jun Haotian said and looked in the direction that the human skin was facing. The human skin no longer had any life force. There was nothing in the entire hall. Therefore, the final secret should be that divine pearl. Then Gu Yuehuang glanced at Jun Haotian. Then she directly touched the divine pearl that was emitting a dazzling light with both hands. At this moment, Jun Haoyan saw from the corner of his eyes. He saw that the fingers of that human skin were moving. Be careful. Chapter 156. By the time Jun Haoyan said that, it was already too late. The entire hall was instantly filled with an extremely evil aura. The runes that had originally disappeared slowly appeared on the ancient bronze coffin again. Jun Haoyan scanned with his divine sense and suddenly realized that the surrounding void had been sealed. A strong sense of danger instantly surged into Jun Haoyan's heart, causing him to feel extremely uneasy. Guyue Huang's face was also ghastly pale, and even her divine sense seemed to be trembling. This terrifying evil power seemed to be able to destroy everything. It was as if a peerless demon was being suppressed in this hall. At this moment it was awakening, and it was extremely shocking. A trace of decisiveness flashed across their eyes. In the next moment, Jun Haoyan and Guyue Huang did not hesitate at all and directly attacked the human skin. Guyue Huang kept waving the sword in her hand, and dazzling lotus flowers flew out with extremely sharp sword intent as if they were about to tear the entire hall apart. On the other hand, Jun Haoyan directly activated his sacred physique. Instantly, a powerful golden aura surged out, boundlessly violent. Countless primordial mammoth shadows appeared one after another, and waves of terrifying suppressive force swept out, carrying the might of eternal hell. Both of them were top prodigies of the eastern wilderness, and at this moment they attacked together. Their might was naturally earth-shattering. But what shocked them was that an even more powerful and terrifying aura suddenly surged out of the hall. The two of them were shocked to discover that this aura had completely surpassed the Imperial Dao realm. It had even surpassed the Dharma characteristic realm. This was the aura of an immortal realm expert. As for Guyue Huang and Jun Haoyan with their strength, they were not strong enough. Even a Dharma characteristic realm expert would not be able to do anything to them. But this aura belonged to an immortal realm expert. An existence that was known as an eternal powerhouse. Boom. Suddenly, Guyue Huang and Jun Haoyan looked at each other. In the next moment, the two of them tacitly rushed toward the entrance of the hall. They wanted to escape. But to their horror, just as they were about to rush to the entrance, suddenly they were pulled back by a powerful force. They could not resist this force. There was no way to escape. Guyue Huang and Jun Haoyan looked at each other in despair. This hall was most likely the place where the two of them had fallen. Kiki, blood food is here. Just then an extremely aged voice sounded. It was as terrifying as an evil spirit. Guyue Huang and Jun Haoyan tensed up when they heard the voice. He immediately looked in the direction of the voice. Then, an extremely strange scene occurred in front of the two of them. In the ancient bronze coffin, the old human skin slowly stood up. Just like that, it slowly walked out and stood on the coffin. A piece of human skin had come back to life. Boom. As Jun Haoyan and Guyue Huang looked at the human skin warily, the human skin suddenly shouted. A thunderous voice resounded in the hall. A series of explosions resounded in the void. That powerful aura made the blood of the two of them boil. Even if Guyue Huang and Jun Haoyan had countless trump cards, it was useless against the power of the immortal realm. Unless they used the legendary supreme weapon. Unfortunately, neither of them had a supreme weapon. Moreover, there was something worse. This Xianyuan supreme weapon's relic was isolated from the outside world. The Holy Sun's mark in Jun Haoyan's body was also useless. In the next moment, Guyue Huang could not resist the evil power that filled the hall. She fainted and fell to the ground. Jun Haoyan had a sacred body and cultivated the indestructible divine body. His physical body was extremely strong. At this moment, his body was surrounded by a thick blood aura. It was like a bloody sun making one's heart palpitate. Kiki, it's a sacred body. Good. At this moment, the human skin also underwent a huge change. He slowly expanded and turned into an old man that resembled a dried corpse. He was all skin and bones. He looked more like a ghost than a ghost. Especially his hollow eyes, which contained an extremely evil aura. The way he looked at Jun Haoyan was as if he had seen the best food. You have a sacred body. Your flesh must be very good. The mummified old man looked at Jun Haoyan greedily. In the next moment he directly attacked Jun Haoyan. Boom. Jun Haoyan's divine soul was shaking and emitting a bright golden light. He wanted to attack with all his might. However, this old man was too strong and terrifying. He did not have the strength to resist at all. I didn't expect your divine soul to be so powerful. Not bad. Seeing this, the old man's eyes became even more greedy. In the next moment he opened his mouth. It seemed that he wanted to swallow Jun Haoyan in one bite. Jun Haoyan's expression did not change. He was using all kinds of Supreme Emperor techniques in his body. The 9 Langya's Holy Sun's mark also exploded at this moment. He wanted to attack with all his might to increase his combat strength. However, at this moment he felt that the terrifying power suddenly disappeared. The old man actually stopped. You have the Holy Sun's mark. The Langya's Holy Sun's mark. You are the Holy Sun of the Langya sacred ground. The old man looked at the 9 Holy Sun's marks that appeared on Jun Haoyan's body and his voice suddenly became very excited. Seeing this, Jun Haoyan frowned slightly. In the next moment, Jun Haoyan's body flashed and he was about to leave the hall. This old man was too strange. If he did not escape now, when would he? Tell me, are you the Holy Sun of the Langya sacred ground? Seeing that Jun Haoyan wanted to escape, the old man suddenly became a little crazy and shouted crazily. In the next moment, a vast force acted on Jun Haoyan and pulled Jun Haoyan back again. That's right. Jun Haoyan had no choice but to answer the old man's question. Aha, it's been 30,000 years, 30,000 years. Someone from the Langya sacred ground is here, someone is finally here. Hearing Jun Haoyan's affirmative answer, the old man instantly became crazy. He danced around as if he had lost his mind. Seeing this scene, Jun Haoyan suddenly thought of something and looked at the old man in disbelief. Then he slowly said, You are Senior Bei Ming, the Holy Son of the Langya sacred ground who disappeared in the Supreme Relic 30,000 years ago, Bei Ming Han? When the old man heard Jun Haoyan's words, his expression suddenly became calm. I didn't expect that after 30,000 years, there would still be someone who remembers me. The old man's voice was filled with mixed emotions. He slowly said, That's right, I am Bei Ming Han, the Holy Son of the Langya sacred ground from 30,000 years ago, Bei Ming Han. After hearing the old man's affirmative answer, Jun Haoyan's expression changed instantly. He did not expect this at all. A person who had disappeared 30,000 years ago. The number 1 prodigy of the past was actually still alive. Moreover, he had become like this? Just what had happened in the middle of this? You have 9 marks of the Holy Sun of the Langya sacred ground on your body? Could it be that you have gained the recognition of the Lord Langya? How did you do it? Even I didn't gain the recognition of the Lord Langya back then? Bei Ming Han looked at Jun Haoyan with some doubts in his eyes. His cloudy eyes stared at Jun Haoyan as if he wanted to see through everything. After a long while he finally confirmed it. Jun Haoyan did indeed have 9 marks of the Holy Sun of the Langya sacred ground on his body. What is your title? Bei Ming Han asked. He stood on the coffin like an evil spirit. Haoyan. Jun Haoyan slowly said. At this moment, his tense heart finally relaxed slightly. He could feel that the old man no longer had any intention to kill him. Haoyan. Haoyan, what a domineering title. Hearing this, Bei Ming Han mumbled to himself. Then he asked again, Has the sacred ground forgotten about me long ago? At this moment, Bei Ming Han looked very dejected, like an old man on his deathbed. Seeing this scene, Jun Haoyan's heart skipped a beat. He did not know what had happened to Bei Ming Han. But at this moment, it seemed that Bei Ming Han still regarded himself as the Holy Son of the Langya sacred ground. Without any hesitation, Jun Haoyan took a step forward and said, You're wrong. The sacred ground has not forgotten about you. I'm here this time to look for you and return to the Langya sacred ground. This is the wish of all the sages and the higher-ups of the Langya sacred ground in the past 30,000 years. Jun Haoyan slowly opened his mouth and spoke word by word. Is what you said true? Bei Ming Han asked. His body was dry and his gray hair danced in the wind. There was a glimmer of hope in his hollow eyes. He could vaguely see it. The peerless genius of the eastern wilderness 30,000 years ago. Chapter 157. Jun Haoyan couldn't help but sigh at Bei Ming Han's current state. Before entering the Supreme Being's relic, he had never thought of this possibility. The Holy Son of Langya from 30,000 years ago was actually still alive today. Moreover, he was still alive in such a monstrous state. Just like that, he was still alive. Although Bei Ming Han was emitting a terrifying aura and the suppression of the immortal realm, however, Jun Haoyan could clearly sense that Bei Ming Han's body was like an oil lamp that had run out of oil, and his qi and blood were in decline. There was no way to hide it. Fate really made fools of people. Looking at Bei Ming Han's current state, Jun Haoyan lamented inwardly. Looking at Bei Ming Han's earnest gaze, Jun Haoyan was slightly taken aback. Then he nodded solemnly. No matter what, Bai Ming Han was a peerless genius who had once dominated an era. That's right. The sacred ground has been waiting for you, Jun Haoyan said seriously. In fact, what he said was the truth. Bai Ming Han had always held an extremely important position in the Langya sacred ground. He was the first holy son of Langya in the history of the Langya sacred ground. After so many years, his legend was still circulating in the Langya sacred ground. Of course, this was also what he wanted to say in his heart. After hearing Jun Haoyan's words, Bai Ming Han's expression became very complicated. At times he would laugh out loud and at other times he would cry bitterly. So that's why, Bai Ming Han muttered to himself, looking very confused. But soon, he became absent-minded again, and his eyes were filled with hatred. If that's the case, why hasn't anyone come to find me in the past 30,000 years? This question had always been a knot in Bai Ming Han's heart. He was the one and only holy son of Langya. He was the most outstanding holy son in the history of the Langya sacred ground. He had been trapped here for 30,000 years and no one had found him. Why was that? Thinking of this, Bai Ming Han was extremely confused. Looking at Bai Ming Han's resentful eyes, Jun Haoyan sighed helplessly and began to explain. That was what had happened in the past 30,000 years. Everyone thought that Bai Ming Han was already dead. The Langya sacred ground thought so too. It was because of his death. The entire Langya sacred ground hadn't entered sovereign Xuanyuan's ruins in the past 30,000 years. But during this period they had never stopped searching. If the Langya sacred ground knew that Bai Ming Han was still alive, they would definitely rush here regardless of everything. Fate was making fools of people. Have you been trapped here for the past 30,000 years? Looking at Bai Ming Han, Jun Haoyan asked. Hearing this, Bai Ming Han let out a bitter smile. Then he explained how it was. 30,000 years ago, the ruins of Autark Shenyuan opened. After SSS. The two of them were able to reach this stage without understanding the formation in the ruins. Regarding this, Jun Haoyan was impressed. After Bai Ming Han and the Kunlunzes entered the main hall, they actually discovered the legendary 7 Treasures Bodhi Seed. 7 Treasures Bodhi Seed? Jun Haoyan couldn't help but be shocked. That was one of the rarest spiritual roots in the martial god continent, the seed of the 7 Treasures Bodhi tree. Of course, this seed couldn't bloom. Legend had it that there was only one 7 Treasures Bodhi tree in the entire 3,000 small worlds. The seed it produced could allow one to comprehend the mysteries of heaven and earth. It was a supreme divine object that nurtured the soul and promoted cultivation. The legendary 7 Treasures Bodhi tree was even more incredible. If one obtained it, they could ascend to immortality and achieve eternal life. Of course, this was undoubtedly an exaggeration. But this also showed how miraculous the 7 Treasures Bodhi tree and seeds were. Most importantly, Bai Ming Han and the Kunlunzes were both at the Emperor realm. It was a crucial moment for him to comprehend heaven and earth. To them, the value of a Bodhi seed was self-evident. However, the beginning of Bai Ming Han's tragedy was caused by this Bodhi seed. At the most critical moment, in order to obtain the Bodhi seed, that Kunlun Saintess had betrayed Bai Ming Han. At that time, Bai Ming Han was the strongest among his peers. Unparalleled strength. He was even strong enough to compete with the older generation experts. But the hero was sad that no one cared about him, but he fell in love with the Saintess of Kunlun at that time. At that time, the two of them were in love with each other and had already pledged their lives to each other. Naturally, Bai Ming Han trusted him as well. Because of this, Bai Ming Han was successfully ambushed by the Kunlun Saintess of that generation. Bai Ming Han was even more unlucky to have touched the terrifying array left on the ancient bronze coffin. Even though Bai Ming Han was powerful, he was still helpless against the heaven-defying formation left behind by Sovereign Shenyuan. His physical body was destroyed in an instant. Even his divine soul was almost destroyed. As for the Kunlun Saintess, she took the 7 Treasures Bodhi seed and left. Only Bai Ming Han was left with a wisp of his divine soul. But Bai Ming Han was indeed worthy of being the #1 paragon 30,000 years ago. Relying on that wisp of divine soul, he comprehended heaven and earth and condensed his body. In the end, he even broke through and became a Dharma characteristic expert. But at that time, Bai Ming Han's divine soul and body actually merged with the bronze coffin miraculously. This made him unable to leave the ancient bronze coffin for the rest of his life. Furthermore, this ancient bronze coffin was also a little strange. It kept absorbing Bai Ming Han's flesh and blood essence. Bai Ming Han had been here for 30,000 years. In these 30,000 years, he broke through the Dharma characteristic realm and reached the immortal realm. He became an eternal powerhouse. But because his body had merged with the bronze coffin, he had always been in this inhuman state. Furthermore, Bai Ming Han had to absorb the flesh and blood of living beings to replenish his blood energy and maintain his life. Therefore, in these 30,000 years, anyone who barged into this hall would be, Bai Ming Han would devour them as flesh and blood. Therefore, in these 30,000 years, anyone who barged into this hall would be, almost all of them were eaten by him as food. I didn't expect that the Saintess of Kunlun would betray you for a Bodhi seed. She even caused you to become like this. Looking at Bai Ming Han, Jun Haoyan sighed. To be honest, the experience of Bai Ming Han, an unparalleled genius, was really sad. He was betrayed by the person he loved the most. Moreover, he had lived for 30,000 years in such an inhuman manner. Who could endure this kind of pain? Yes, I was betrayed by the person I trusted the most. The person I loved the most schemed against me. Ah! Hearing this, Bai Ming Han's entire body convulsed. His skinny body curled up. His teeth were about to fall out. There were only a few strands of gray hair left. His skin was shriveled and his eye sockets were sunken. He looked like an evil ghost. He couldn't even stand up straight. It had been 30,000 years. He had been tortured by time in this bronze coffin to the point that he was neither human nor ghost. Although he had become an eternal powerhouse of the immortal realm. But so what? In this life of Bai Ming Han, the first half of his life was endless glory and peerless. He stood at the peak of the eastern wasteland. In the second half of his life he was in endless darkness, in resentment, devouring flesh and blood. He was at death's door. What a tragic life. All of this made Jun Haoyan sigh. Time was like a knife cutting through a genius. Looking back at the end of time. Chapter 158. Bai Ming Han's tortuous experience would cause anyone to sigh endlessly. Jun Haoyan shook his head with a sigh. Thanks to Bai Ming Han, he had gained a new understanding of cultivation. No matter how magnificent you are, no matter how peerless you are, in the face of the endless years, it was just a small wave. Only by achieving supremacy, achieving immortality, transcending everything. Heaven and earth may collapse, but I will not perish. Eternal immortality. With these thoughts flashing through his mind, Jun Haoyan was even more determined on the path of martial arts in his heart. Just as Jun Haoyan was in a trance, an extremely violent aura suddenly shook. Feeling this aura, Jun Haoyan immediately raised his head. He suddenly realized that Bai Ming Han's eyes were suddenly bursting with a shocking light. The next moment he actually rushed towards Jun Haoyan. Bai Ming Han's speed was very fast, like a shadow flashing past. Before Jun Haoyan could react, his eagle-like hands grabbed Jun Haoyan's shoulders. Can you go out? You can definitely go out, right? Bai Ming Han grabbed Jun Haoyan's shoulders and looked at Jun Haoyan with anticipation. Allowing Bai Ming Han to grab him, Jun Haoyan did not resist. He did not sense any killing intent from Bai Ming Han. Looking at the hope in Bai Ming Han's eyes, Jun Haoyan nodded slowly and said, "Yes, I can go out." Jun Haoyan did not have any connection with the hall, so he could naturally go out. Indeed, good. Receiving Jun Haoyan's affirmative answer, Bai Ming Han smiled with relief. Then he slowly released his hands from Jun Haoyan's shoulders. But the next moment, a powerful and terrifying force suddenly emerged from Bai Ming Han's body. This power was pouring into Jun Haoyan's body through Bai Ming Han's hands. When Jun Haoyan sensed what kind of power Bai Ming Han was channeling into his body, a look of disbelief crossed his face. Bai Ming Han was not imparting his cultivation to him. He had actually moved an ancient golden tree with thousands of emerald green leaves into his body. This ancient golden tree wasn't very tall. However, regardless of whether it was the trunk or the leaves, they all emitted bursts of golden light. Just one look was enough to make one feel as if one's entire being had been sublimated. The tree was slowly entering Jun Haoyan's dantian through Bai Ming Han's body, planting a golden tree in his chi. Could this be? Looking at the ancient golden tree in his dantian, Jun Haoyan was completely shocked. When the ancient tree entered his dantian, Jun Haoyan clearly felt that his perception of the world had become clearer. He could even sense the trajectory of the world clearly. I'm sure you've already guessed it. That's right, this ancient golden tree is the world's #1 spirit root, the 7 treasures Bodhi tree. Back then, Xinyuan Jizun broke into the Nirvana mainland and snatched this peerless spirit root pavilion from the bald donkeys. He then placed it in this ancient bronze coffin. Ji Yunhan would never have thought that she would obtain a 7 treasures Bodhi seed while I obtained the entire 7 treasures Bodhi tree. Just as Jun Haoyin was in a state of shock, Bai Minghan slowly explained. Jun Haoyin was even more shocked when he heard Bai Minghan's confirmation. The ancient tree in his body was really the legendary Seven Treasures Bodhi tree. And Bai Minghan had even given him such a peerless treasure. This made Jun Haoyin feel as if he was dreaming. Holy Sun. You. Jun Haoyin was shocked and looked at Bai Minghan in confusion. You've obtained 9 Langya Holy Sun marks and the recognition of the Lord Langya. You even have a divine body. Your future is limitless. Bai Minghan revealed a terrifying smile and said slowly, I'm just a dying man. It's a waste to leave such a peerless spirit root with me. You're the best place for it. He looked at Jun Haoyin with gratification. 9 Langya Holy Sun marks. This was an achievement that even he did not achieve back then. Anyway, he was not going to live for long. He might as well leave the 7 Treasures Bodhi tree to a peerless junior like Jun Haoyin. Just like that, time passed by. Under the control of a never-wither realm expert like Bai Minghan, the 7 Treasures Bodhi tree gradually merged with Jun Haoyin's Dantian. At this moment, this peerless spirit root completely belonged to Jun Haoyin. Cough cough. Bai Minghan coughed violently after he was done. It was as if he was about to vomit blood. However, it was as if Bai Minghan had no more blood in his body. He only spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Right now, it was as if he was only left with a skeleton. Senior. Looking at Bai Minghan's miserable state, Jun Haoyin had mixed feelings. Concentrate. I'll help you refine the divine meteorite bloodstones. Just as Jun Haoyin was about to say something, Bai Minghan spoke again. Then Bai Minghan burned the last bit of energy in his body and infused it into Jun Haoyin's body again. In an instant, the divine meteorite bloodstones turned into the purest energy and infused into Jun Haoyin's limbs and bones. The 7 Treasures Bodhi tree in his Dantian gave off thousands of rays of golden light. The enlightenment of the truth of heaven and earth and the infusion of energy in his body. 2 things at the same time. At this moment, Jun Haoyin's physical body, cultivation, and spiritual soul were all enhanced. Boom boom boom. Layers of energy were surging, and Jun Haoyin's cultivation instantly surged. 2nd level of the Imperial Path. 2nd level of the Imperial Path. 3rd level of the Imperial Path. 3rd level of the Imperial Path. 4th level of the Imperial Path. 4th level of the Imperial Path. 5th level of the Imperial Path. In just an instant, Jun Haoyin's cultivation soared to the 5th level of the Imperial Path. At this moment, Jun Haoyin was in the ruins of Shenyuan Supreme, isolated from the outside world. Therefore, there was no heavenly tribulation. This also meant that on the surface, Jun Haoyin's cultivation was only at the 1st level of the Imperial Path. However, he was actually at the 5th level of the Imperial Path. As long as he went out and released his energy, the heavenly tribulation would descend. After overcoming the heavenly tribulation, Jun Haoyin would truly be at the 5th level of the Imperial Path. But even so, it didn't stop Jun Haoyin from possessing the true origin of the 5th level of the Imperial Path. The indestructible divine body that he cultivated had also improved tremendously. The 2nd stage was the divinization of 5 million pores, which was steadily advancing toward transformation. Even the giant elephant seeds in Jun Haoyin's body were awakening crazily. From the initial 200,000, it had now reached 300,000. A total of 100,000 giant elephant seeds were awakened. At this moment, Jun Haoyin looked the same as before. However, in terms of strength, he had reached an unimaginable level. Boom. Waves of energy gradually stabilized. Jun Haoyin stood where he was and felt the power in his body. It was terrifying and peerless. Your foundation is stronger than I imagined. I'm no match for you at the same level. Haoyin, you are worthy of the name. Looking at Jun Haoyin, Bai Minghan spoke slowly. At this moment, his entire body was pale and there was no trace of blood. His aura was faint as if he was a dead person. It seemed that he had used up the last of his strength to speak. The former Holy Son of Langya had given him a great opportunity. Jun Haoyin wanted to speak. He could see that Bai Minghan's qi and blood were declining, and his lifespan was drying up. He was really about to die. However, at this moment, Bai Minghan waved his hand and stopped Jun Haoyin. I know what you're thinking. But in my current state, even a supreme being would be useless. If you really want to help me, then help me kill someone. Ji-Yunhan, help me kill that bitch Ji-Yunhan. When he said the last sentence, he had really turned into an evil spirit. It was incomparably terrifying. This was something that Bai Minghan would never be able to let go of in his life. It was also because of this peerless genius. The eternal pain in his heart. Chapter 159. All right. As he gazed at the hatred that appeared on Bai Ming Han's face, Jun Haoyin stared at him for a short while before he spoke in an extremely solemn tone. He didn't speak any heroic words. Jun Haoyin didn't make any promises. He didn't swear. But a simple word of good was better than any promise. At this moment, Jun Haoyin had set a goal for himself in his heart. It could be considered as an obstacle on his path towards the martial Tao. That was his promise to Bai Ming Han. Not to mention Bai Ming Han's identity and status as the holy son of Langya. As a junior, he ought to obey the words of his seniors. Moreover, Bai Ming Han had exhausted his entire cultivation to help him break through to the 5th level of the Imperial Tao realm. Jun Haoyin had to repay such an enormous favor. Even though he would be able to attain his current cultivation sooner or later if he absorbed the divine meteorite bloodstone. However, the 7-treasure Bodhi tree that Bai Ming Han had given him was the #1 spirit root in the world, and it was an enormous fortune for him. Bai Ming Han had done all that for Jun Haoyin, so it was sufficient for him to do something for Bai Ming Han. I believe you can do it. Bai Ming Han was naturally able to sense the determination in Jun Haoyin's voice when he heard Jun Haoyin, and he couldn't help but speak. He believed that with Jun Haoyin's potential and ability, it was only a matter of time before he surpassed Ji Yunhan. When he thought up to here, the rock in Bai Ming Han's heart finally fell to the ground. In the next moment, his body actually started to slowly dissipate. At this moment, his life had finally come to an end. Haoyin, you don't have to take my corpse back. I've devoured countless flesh and blood throughout the years, and I can't be considered a human anymore. I'm no longer worthy of the title of the Holy Son of Langya. My existence will only bring shame to the reputation of the hallowed grounds of Langya. Bai Ming Han gazed at Jun Haoyin with a wisp of a smile on his face, and his tone was filled with relief. At this moment, he put down all the knots in his heart since Jun Haoyin had helped him take revenge. The monstrous hatred that had accumulated for 30,000 years was quietly released at this moment. After he finished speaking, Bai Ming Han's withered body finally fell to the ground slowly. In the next moment, Bai Ming Han's body turned back into human skin. However, it was different from before. At this moment, not a single trace of life could be felt from the human skin. Bai Ming Han had completely disappeared from this world, never to be resurrected again. Are we really not bringing him back? Looking at the human skin in the ancient bronze coffin, Jun Haoyin had a complicated look in his eyes as he muttered to himself, murmur. Perhaps he could understand Bai Ming Han's feelings. As the #1 prodigy at that time, he had devoured so much flesh and blood. He was too proud to face the ancestors of the Langya Holy Land. In fact, he would rather be buried in this dark hall forever. Was this the end of the top genius of the Eastern Barren Territory for 30,000 years? Jun Haoyin quickly calculated the gains and losses in his mind. If he could bring Bai Ming Han's skin back to the Langya sacred ground, it would be a great achievement. However, doing so would go against Bai Ming Han's wishes. He had received such a great favor from Bai Ming Han. If he did so, wouldn't he be ungrateful? It could even be said that he was biting the hand that fed him. It might even affect his martial arts heart. Therefore, Jun Haoyin pondered for a long time. In the end, he decided to follow Bai Ming Han's wishes. He would let the world think that this peerless genius had died in the supreme relic 30,000 years ago. In the eyes of the future generations, Bai Ming Han was still the peerless genius of the Gaia era. At this thought, Jun Haoyin bowed slightly to the human skin. Buzz. At this moment, the crisp sound of a sword suddenly rang out in the hall. Yes, Holy Son of Haoyin, where is that evil presence just now? It turned out that the Jade Lake Saintess, Guyue Huang, had woken up. Since Bai Ming Han was dead, the evil force in the hall had disappeared. Without the evil force's influence, Guyue Huang naturally woke up. I'm not sure. I also just woke up, but I found that the human skin had returned to its original state. Looking at the confused Guyue Huang, Jun Haoyin slowly explained, could it be that we entered an illusory array and everything we saw was an illusion? Jun Haoyin naturally wouldn't tell an outsider like Guyue Huang about Bai Ming Han. Phew. Should be. However, I don't seem to sense any movement of the array seal. Could it be that this array seal is too abstruse and mysterious? Hearing Jun Haoyin's explanation, Guyue Huang was slightly stunned and said uncertainly, that scene just now was really too thrilling. That monster was a peerless elite of the immortal realm. This is the 7 treasures Bodhi seed? Suddenly, Guyue Huang looked at the oval-shaped seed in her hand and said in disbelief. This seed was the divine pearl that she had touched previously. In the next moment, she immediately distanced herself from Jun Haoyin and kept her distance. She looked at Jun Haoyan cautiously. This action was undoubtedly to prevent Jun Haoyan from launching a sneak attack on her and trying to snatch the 7 treasures Bodhi seed. Hee, you don't have to have such a big reaction. This Bodhi seed is yours. I won't snatch it from you. Looking at Guyue Huang's exaggerated reaction, Jun Haoyan couldn't help but find it funny. Without Guyue Huang, he wouldn't have the ability to enter the core hall. He wouldn't have been able to see the holy son of Langya, Bai Ming Han. He wouldn't have been able to get the exceptional spiritual root in his elixir field. The 7 treasures Bodhi tree was just a seed. How could it be compared to the entire 7 treasures Bodhi tree? Hearing Jun Haoyan's words, Guyue Huang was a little embarrassed. However, this 7 treasures Bodhi seed was too precious. She would never give it up. How about this? This Bodhi seed belongs to me, but you can borrow it. Moreover, our alliance can continue to exist in the future. If you need anything in the future, I, Guyue Huang, will do my best to help you without hesitation. Guyue Huang spoke with a solemn expression as she guaranteed. In her heart, she felt that she had benefited greatly by obtaining the Bodhi seed. If she didn't do anything, she would feel a little apologetic. When Jun Haoyan heard Guyue Huang's guarantee, he was slightly stunned. Then a smile appeared on his face. This Kunlun holy maiden is really interesting. Up to you. Jun Haoyan spoke slowly, tacitly agreeing with Guyue Huang's words. Next, the two of them searched the hall, but they didn't find anything, so they directly left the hall. This time, Guyue Huang had entered Xianyuan Supreme's ruins for the Bodhi seed. Now that she had gotten what she wanted, she naturally had no other thoughts. On the other hand, Jun Haoyan was even more satisfied after obtaining a spiritual item like the 7 treasures Bodhi tree. Moreover, after he walked out of Xianyuan Supreme's ruins and passed the heavenly tribulation, he would truly be able to step into the 5th level of the Imperial Dao realm. Since he'd accomplished all his goals, Jun Haoyan naturally had to look for Jun Moyo and the others. Guyue Huang had the same plan. She intended to gather the disciples of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. After all, Xianyuan Supreme's ruins were filled with danger. These fellow disciples of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground needed their protection. But right when the two of them walked out of the hall, bang! At this moment, Guyue Huang felt a boundless killing intent sweep over. Xing Holy Son, you're courting death. A bone-piercing cold voice sounded out from Jun Haoyan's mouth. At this moment his expression was icy cold. At the instant he left the hall, he actually sensed that Jun Moyo was in danger. Moreover, it seemed like it was the most dangerous moment now. But because of the formation in the hall just now, the will he left behind had lost its effect. So, Jun Haoyan only sensed all of this after he walked out of the hall. He found out from the will he left behind in Jun Moyo's body. Xiang Holy Son was attacking Jun Moyo. This had undoubtedly touched Jun Haoyan's reverse scale. Guyue Huang looked at Jun Haoyan with astonishment, and she spoke in a slightly puzzled manner. What's wrong? Terrifying killing intent erupted from the latter's eyes, and it was like a fiend god had descended into the world. It caused Guyue Huang to be extremely shocked. The strength was truly too strong. However, Jun Haoyan paid no attention to her, and he directly transformed into a ray of light and flew out. Guyue Huang hesitated for a moment, but she still chose to follow Jun Haoyan. At this moment, in another part of Xianyuan Supreme's ruins, a myriad of rays of light shone here, and an icy cold aura raged. Xiang Holy Son, Zhuozhongtong and Long Dongbua. The 3 holy sons had held the title for the first time in a row. They'd set up a shocking formation and attacked forcefully. Within the formation was Jun Moyo, who was covered in blood. Chapter 160. At this moment, a bone-chilling aura was being emitted from Jun Moyo's body. On her forehead, there was a blue lotus imprint that was shining with a dazzling light. This imprint was the source of Jun Moyo's strength. This imprint gave Jun Moyo a noble and mysterious aura. At this moment, in terms of aura, Jun Moyo wasn't inferior to Guyue Huang, who was known as the #1 goddess of the eastern wilderness. Countless snowflakes surrounded Jun Moyo and slowly drifted down. They were emitting a bone-chilling coldness. Not to mention the Yuan-Dan realm. Even an Imperial Dao realm expert would probably freeze their true Yuan if they got too close to Jun Moyo. With the support of the Lotus imprint, Jun Moyo had already become incomparably tyrannical. Whether it was his physical body, soul, or true Yuan, they had all increased by more than 10 times. Even if the 3 Holy Sun hadn't used their full strength. But if the outside world found out that Jun Moyo had fought the 3 Holy Sun alone, it would be enough to shake the entire eastern wilderness. No one knew that Jun Moyo had suddenly obtained such great strength. Even Feng Xiaoyao, Dugubo, and the others looked at Jun Moyo with disbelief in their eyes. Now they could only hide behind Jun Moyo. If the three saints worked together, they would be able to make them disappear in an instant with just a casual move. Jun Moyo had blocked the three holy sun with his own strength. However, the power of the snow lotus was an external object and not his own strength. After a period of time, Jun Moyo's strength actually started to fade. At this moment, Guyue Huang's blue dress was covered in blood. She had reached a critical moment of life and death. How long has senior brother Bailey been out of the formation? Suddenly, Jun Moyu slowly opened his mouth, his voice revealing a trace of weakness. Feng Xiaoyao and Dugubo had complicated expressions as they looked at Jun Moyo, who looked like he was swaying in the wind and rain. When he was surrounded by the three holy sun and entered the formation they had set up, Bailey Shuahuang had been surrounded. Jun Moyo abruptly unleashed his tyrannical power and sent Bailey Xuanzi flying. This meant that Jun Moyo had the strength to leave. But for them he had willingly stayed here. Feng Xiaoyao looked at Jun Moyo and said slowly, "Junior brother Bailey has been out for an hour." Hearing this, Jun Moyu nodded and his expression relaxed. "Hao Yin, you should have heard the news. Don't come. These fellows joined forces because of you. Don't fall for it." The three holy sun had joined forces. In Jun Moyo's opinion, with Jun Haoyin's current strength, he was definitely no match for them. Jun Moyo knew that the three holy sun hadn't used all their strength yet because they wanted to keep them alive and lure Jun Haoyin to come. This was the result that Jun Moyo didn't want to see. Thinking of this, she looked at Feng Xiaoyao and Dugubo. "Do you regret it? Do you regret following Holy Sun Haoyin?" This sentence shocked Feng Xiaoyao and Dugubo. "Regret? Haha, junior sister Jun, you must be joking. I, Feng Xiaoyao, will never regret the person I choose." Suddenly, a relieved smile appeared on Feng Xiaoyao's face. Plus, to be able to die under the joint attack of the three holy suns is a fortunate thing. This kind of glory isn't something that just anyone can enjoy. That's right. What's there to regret? At most we'll die. Feng Xiaoyao and Dugubo looked at each other and couldn't help laughing. At this moment they were determined. They weren't afraid of the slim chance of survival. Good, Haoyin didn't choose the wrong person. Seeing this, Jun Moyo smiled with relief. At the same time, her aura became colder. At this moment, outside the array, Xiang Holy Sun, Zhuozhongtong and Long Dongbo looked at the array calmly. Behind the three of them was Fang Shilong, who had a smile on his face. After a long while, Long Dongbo said slowly, "Why isn't Hao Tian Holy Sun here yet?" He seemed to have lost his patience. "If he doesn't come, I'm afraid I won't be able to hold back an attack." Zhuozhongtong looked at the snow lotus mark on Jun Moyo's forehead with a greedy look. If he could get that thing, it would be a great fortune. "Don't worry, Hao Tian Holy Sun will definitely come back." The purple sun Saint Sun said indifferently. Looking at the array, a trace of extreme greed flashed in his eyes. With the three holy sun joining forces, Jun Haoyin would definitely die this time. Zhuozhongtong and Long Dongbo nodded when they heard this. If not for the fact that they wanted to lure Jun Haoyin here, they would have already used all their strength. They wouldn't have wasted so much time. Thinking of this, the two of them decided to continue waiting. Boom. At this moment, on the other side of the Shenyuan Supreme Ruins, there was a bloody battle going on. Bailey Xuanzi held the Moi ancient sword in his hand and was covered in blood. Waves of powerful energy blasted toward him, causing him to retreat involuntarily. He was surrounded by dozens of powerful figures. These figures were the true disciples of the Qingyun Sacred Ground and the Luotian Sacred Ground. Even though Bailey Xuanzi's swordsmanship was unparalleled, he was already severely injured in the array. Now that he was facing the true disciples of the two sacred grounds, how could he be their match? Even so, Bailey Xuanzi was still holding on. His body was already covered with ghastly wounds. Dragging his severely injured body, Bailey Xuanzi continued to move forward. Behind him was a pool of blood, but he didn't care. "Holy Sun, I must find the Holy Sun and tell him the news." Bailey Xuanzi's eyes were gradually losing their light, but he still murmured to himself in a murmur. Facing the attacks around him, he didn't retaliate at all. He just kept dodging and running away. His only goal was to tell Jun Haoyin the news of the three Holy Sun teaming up. He wanted to tell Jun Haoyin not to be fooled. He knew that when the Holy Sun became stronger, he would definitely avenge him. However, Bailey Xuanzi really searched for a long time. Even his life was being overdrawn. But he still couldn't find Jun Haoyin. Boom. At this moment, Another fierce attack came from the void. Bailey Schwanza channeled his true core and tried to block it. But at this moment he was already at the end of his rope. In the next moment he was directly blasted away by this attack, and he couldn't help but spit out blood. Haha, how can you be called the #1 sword Dao genius in Langya? Bullsh *T. That's right. You have the cultivation of Yuan Dan stage 10, but you don't dare to fight back. What a piece of trash. In the void, the true disciples of Luo Tian's sacred ground and Qingyun's sacred ground rode on long rainbows. Each of them held a Dharma artifact and chased after Bailey Schwanza. From time to time, they would attack and penetrate Bailey Schwanza's body. But they just didn't kill Bailey Schwanza. Like a cat playing with a mouse, they wanted to play with him until he died. It seems that the holy son of Haoyin won't show up. Let's just kill him. After a while, a true disciple of Luo Tian's sacred ground said. It turned out that the reason they did this was to lure Jun Haoyin out. Now, Bailey Schwanza's life was coming to an end. But the holy son of Haoyin still hadn't shown up. They had undoubtedly lost their patience. They planned to kill Bailey Schwanza directly. When the others heard this, they all nodded in agreement. Suddenly, everyone joined forces. With Dharma artifacts in hand, they unleashed a terrifying murderous intent. Boundless true essence surged and formed a long saber in the void. Bailey Schwanza couldn't withstand this attack at all. At this moment, Bailey Schwanza felt the terrifying aura and sighed slightly. He was very regretful. Why wasn't he stronger? That way he would definitely be able to find the Holy Sun. But there were no ifs. He felt that his life was in danger. His life was about to come to an end here. Kill. In the void, the disciples of Luo Tian's sacred ground and Qingyun's sacred ground shouted and activated their Dharma artifacts to kill Bailey Schwanza. It was also at this moment that the void rioted, thunder exploded, and the wind and clouds changed color. A purple figure appeared. He stood in the sky and his murderous intent surged. It was as if a demon had descended. Chapter 161. A terrifying and peerless pressure descended like a demon god that was about to destroy the world. There was a surge of primordial chi in the void. For some reason, the heavenly blade that was jointly cast by the Holy Land and the Green Cloud sacred ground could not move forward as if it was being obstructed. What's going on? A disciple from the Holy Land felt that something was amiss and shouted. He panicked when he realized that he could not mobilize his true origin. Everyone felt as if they were being targeted by an ancient ferocious beast. It was as if they were in hell at that moment. At that moment, everyone raised their heads. They saw that at the end of the void, a purple-robed figure was walking in the air. Behind that person, the primordial chi of heaven and earth was surging violently. His body was like a giant mountain, suppressing the heavens. The aura exuding from that person was especially breathtaking. The true disciples from the two holy lands could clearly feel that the Dharma artifacts in their hands were trembling. That person was definitely an invincible elite. That's the Holy Son of Great Heaven. At that moment, a disciple from the Green Cloud sacred ground recognized the person in front of him and his expression changed drastically. At the entrance of the ruins, he had witnessed the power and dominance of the Holy Son of Great Heaven with his own eyes. As soon as he said that, the disciples from the two holy lands turned pale. In the next moment, everyone subconsciously prepared to escape. At that moment, they did not have the mood to care about Bailey Schwanza. They were about to lose their lives, so why would they care about Bailey Schwanza? However, in the next moment, they realized in despair that this place seemed to have been sealed. They could not rush out at all. On the ground, Bailey Schwanza also felt that something was wrong above him. His body was trembling as he slowly raised his head and looked at the void. Then he saw a figure that seemed to hold up the sky. The Holy Sun. Looking at the peerless figure in the void, Bailey Schwanza smiled as if he was relieved. The purple-robed man in the void was naturally Jun Haoyin, who had rushed over. He landed directly and supported Bailey Schwanza. After he checked on Bailey Schwanza's injuries, his face became extremely cold. Although his life was not in danger, he was in imminent danger. All of you deserve to die. Subsequently, Jun Haoyin shifted his gaze to the pro-disciples of the Green Cloud Saint Ground and Luo Tian Saint Ground. The moment Jun Haoyin finished his words, heaven and earth instantly changed color, and a series of rumbling sounds rang out. Rumble. Then Jun Haoyin slowly extended his right hand, and countless golden divine lights gathered in his hand. The golden chi and blood surged violently, turning into a cauldron of chi and blood that seemed to want to melt heaven and earth. Boom. At this moment, the surrounding earth crumbled, forming a 1,000-mile-long ravine. How dare you? We're true disciples of a holy land. You can't kill us. Holy son of Hao Yin, you can't kill us. You'll start a war between the holy lands. Holy son of Hao Yin, we were wrong. Please forgive us. At this moment, all the true disciples of the two holy lands were pale, and even their souls seemed to be throbbing. They even tried to use their identities to threaten Jun Haotian. Unfortunately, they were disappointed. Jun Haotian frowned as if he had heard their words. He only lifted his right hand slowly. Boom. In the next moment, a giant palm suddenly appeared in the void. Boom. Jun Haotian pressed his palm down, and the giant palm seemed to be able to suppress heaven and earth as it pressed down on the true disciples of the two holy lands. Poof, 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 the boundless suppressive force crushed down, and everyone under the giant palm exploded one after another, turning into a cloud of blood mist. Not only their physical bodies, but even their spiritual souls were completely annihilated. The barren land was dyed red, and it was a ghastly sight. The power of Jun Haotian's palm had destroyed all their Dharma artifacts. At this moment, Jun Haotian had the support of the indestructible divine constitution and the 300,000 seeds of the giant elephant in his body. The power that could be unleashed in an instant was immeasurable. Jun Haotian was confident that with his current strength, he could defeat the younger generation of the eastern wilderness. Just like Baiming Han, the holy son of Langya in the past. From the moment Jun Haotian appeared until now, he had only used one palm. The true disciples of the Luotian sacred ground and the Green Cloud sacred ground were all annihilated. Not even a single limb was left behind. After casually killing the true disciples of the two holy lands, Jun Haotian's figure flashed and directly appeared next to Bailey Xuanzi. He took out some healing elixirs from the spatial ring and gave them to Bailey Xuanzi. At this moment, Guyue Huang's figure slowly appeared in the void above. Earlier, she happened to see the scene where Jun Haotian destroyed the true disciples of the two holy lands with one palm. She looked at Jun Haotian and was surprised. Although she did not spend much time with Jun Haotian, she knew that although Jun Haotian was powerful, he rarely got angry like this. Just now, Jun Haotian was like a demon wantonly massacring the living beings. What did the people of the Luotian sacred ground and the Green Cloud sacred ground do to make the Holy Sun so angry? Guyue Huang muttered to herself. She did not know why, but she had a bad feeling in her heart. The trip to the Xinyuan Supreme Relic this time would probably cause rivers of blood to flow in the various holy lands. Thinking of this, Guyue Huang directly appeared next to Jun Haotian. For the sake of the Bodhi bead, if Jun Haotian needed help, she would lend a helping hand. Holy Sun Ziyang, Ziyang Holy Sun, Donghua Holy Sun, and Wudao Holy Sun have jointly set up a formation and are waiting for you to come to them. You must not be fooled. You must not go. After taking the elixir, Bailey Xuanzi recovered a little and said to Jun Haotian with difficulty. Alright, stop talking and have a good rest. Jun Haotian naturally knew what Bailey Xuanzi wanted to say and interrupted him impatiently. One could not tell whether he was happy or angry. Then he looked at Guyue Huang and said slowly, "Help me take care of him." Guyue Huang was stunned when she heard that. Jun Haotian's words did not reveal any joy or anger. However, Guyue Huang felt that Jun Haotian was like the king of hell at this moment, making people tremble in fear. Even she felt a chill in her heart from the endless murderous intent that was invisible. "What are you going to do?" Guyue Huang asked carefully. "Kill," Jun Haotian said coldly. Guyue Huang was shocked when she heard that. She naturally knew who Jun Haotian was going to kill. It was the Holy Sun. What kind of existence was the Holy Sun? He was the most powerful genius of a sacred ground. He was also one of the most respected figures of a sacred ground. The death of any one of them would cause a sacred ground to go crazy. At this moment, Jun Haotian seemed to be fearless. He directly said that he wanted to kill the Holy Sun. "You." Just as she was about to say something, Jun Haotian had already disappeared on the spot. Guyue Huang stood up with a solemn expression. "Jade Lake Saintess, quickly stop the Holy Sun." He cough cough. Bailey Xuanzi looked at Jun Haotian's departing figure and hurriedly said to Guyue Huang. However, Guyue Huang just shook her head. She was also helpless. She could not stop Jun Haotian from making a decision. Thinking of this, she raised a jade talisman. This was used to contact the disciples of the Jade Lake sacred ground and was very rare. In the ruins of Xinyuan Supreme, only the people of the Jade Lake sacred ground had it. The people of the Jade Lake sacred ground will take care of you. As for your Holy Sun, I will try my best to keep an eye on him. After saying this, Guyue Huang also turned into a stream of light and disappeared. She knew that no matter who was in trouble, it was a big deal. At that time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Chapter 162. Jun Moyo, your power must have reached its limit. In the vast void, Xiang Holy Sun looked down at the formation and said slowly. There was a smile on his face as if everything was under his control. Beside him, the two Holy Sun, Long Donghua and Zhuozhongtong, were also standing in the void. The three Holy Sun were all exuding a terrifying aura. It set off a wave of primordial qi in the void, wild and violent. Inside the formation, it was as if a peerless demon was awakening. A bone-piercing chill erupted from the formation and swept out in all directions. In the void, everything seemed to be frozen by this chill. Even the formation that the three Holy Sun had set up together was covered by a thick layer of ice. But if one observed carefully, they would find that the chill was gradually fading. The temperature in the void was also slowly rising. All these signs were enough to show that the power in Jun Moyo's body was quickly dissipating. At this moment, the people of the Langya Holy Land inside the formation were all relying on Jun Moyo's power to survive for the time being. Once the power in Jun Moyo's body completely disappeared, the disciples of the Langya Holy Land inside the formation would be completely reduced to lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Whether it was Feng Xiaoyao or Dugu Bo, only death would await them. It was completely beyond their control. The three Holy Sun teaming up was too powerful. A single saint would be able to completely defeat them. Not to mention the three Holy Sun teaming up. That's right, so what? Hearing Xiang Holy Sun's words, a mocking smile appeared on Jun Moyo's face. At this moment, Jun Moyo was very different from how he was before. He was even more indifferent than before. All of this seemed to be because of the snow lotus mark on his forehead. Jun Moyo, I know what you're planning. Don't worry, even if Haoyan Holy Sun doesn't come, we'll go look for him. By the way, I have to remind you that in addition to the three of us, the Alcade Holy Sun is also waiting for Haoyan Holy Sun. Looking at Jun Moyo's beautiful face, Long Donghua said slowly. When Jun Moyo heard this, his brows furrowed. The Alcade Holy Sun was known to be the second most powerful in the eastern wilderness. If he attacked, Jun Haoyan would most likely die. Despicable? Peerless geniuses? You're just a bunch of treacherous villains. Jun Moyo's face was incomparably cold, and the aura on his body began to surge once again. The horrifying chill seemed to freeze even the primordial qi in the void. But after a while, this power's power weakened once again. At this moment, Jun Moyo was really at the end of his rope. Since Haoyan Holy Sun doesn't dare to show up, we might as well not wait and attack directly. Zhuozhongtong said as he narrowed his eyes, which flashed with endless coldness. Xiang Holy Sun frowned when he heard this. He had been preparing for this for a long time. But if Jun Haoyan didn't come, all his efforts would be in vain. Xiang, don't worry. As long as the two of us get the benefits, I'll still help you deal with Haoyan Holy Sun. Long Donghua said when he saw Xiang Holy Sun's hesitation. Forget it, we'll do as you say. Xiang Holy Sun nodded helplessly when he heard this. He was unwilling to give up. He thought Jun Haoyan was a fearless person, but he didn't expect that he wouldn't dare to show up. He had misjudged him. After getting Xiang Holy Sun's agreement, Long Donghua and Zhuozhongtong looked at each other and immediately started to attack the Grand Formation. Boom! In an instant, the Grand Formation changed, and boundless dense blood-red aura appeared. Every single strand of blood-red aura was capable of causing an Imperial Dao realm expert to be badly battered. And there were thousands of strands of blood-red aura like this within the Grand Formation. Feng Xiaoyao and Dugu Bo's expressions changed completely. They didn't hesitate at all and prepared to fight to the death. Even though they knew that it might not work. But the two of them absolutely wouldn't sit still and wait for death. Sizzle, but at this moment, the two of them felt an even colder aura. Their expressions changed as they looked at Jun Moyo. At this moment, the snow lotus mark on her forehead had disappeared. Replacing it was a pair of cold eyes that were filled with blue light. At this moment, Jun Moyo seemed to have changed into a different person. There wasn't a trace of emotion on her face and she was like a goddess. Jun Moyo slowly raised his head as he stood within the Grand Formation. Boom! The heavens and the earth shook as snowflakes fluttered and shot out boundless blue light. The light pierced through everything and seemed capable of destroying the world. Shit! The energy within Jun Moyo's body has completely awakened. Xiang Holy Sun's expression changed drastically when he saw this scene. The energy within Jun Moyo's body. No one knew what the consequences would be once it awakened. Long Donghua and Zhuozhongtong's expressions changed drastically as well as Xiang Holy Sun's. Within the Grand Formation, Jun Moyo stretched out his hand and lightly swiped at the space before him. Bang! In the next moment, the grand formation that the three Holy Sun had set up with their combined strength actually collapsed. This scene instantly caused everyone present to be extremely astounded. This was a grand formation that the three Holy Sun had set up together. Jun Moyo had destroyed it with just a light swipe? After that, Jun Moyo stretched out his finger again and slowly pointed at the space before him. In an instant, a blue pillar of light shot out from the sky above the Shenyuan Supreme Ruins. Then Jun Moyo slowly walked into the pillar of light. In the next moment, a shocking scene happened. Jun Moyo actually disappeared into the blue pillar of light. It seemed like she had completely left the Shenyuan Supreme Ruins. No one could sense her aura anymore. What's going on? Seeing this scene, Xiang Holy Sun and the others were stunned and in disbelief. Sister. However, at this moment, a shocking roar sounded. Explosions rang out in the area of 1,000 miles. Fang Shilong, Xiang Holy Sun, Long Donghua, and Zhuozhongtong all turned their heads. Holy Sun Haotian. The four of them spoke as they looked at the distant void. A purple-robed figure walked out just like that, stepping on the void with an awe-inspiring aura. At this moment, Jun Haotian also felt the abnormality in the world. He guessed that it was because Jun Moyo had released the power of the mark in her body without any scruples. However, at this moment, Jun Moyo's aura, including the mark he had left on her body, had disappeared. He couldn't even find her aura. Jun Haotian's eyes were filled with killing intent. After using that power, even he didn't know what would happen. If it wasn't a life-and-death crisis, why would Jun Moyo use it? Holy Sun, junior sister Jun? She's gone. At this moment, the voices of Feng Xiaoyao and the others could be heard. Hearing this, Jun Haotian could no longer suppress the anger in his heart. He thought that he had arrived in time. But he didn't expect something like this would happen. His sister Jun Moyo was gone. He didn't know if she was alive or dead. And all of this was caused by these people in front of him. He turned his gaze to the Purple Sun, Saint Sun and the others. He said expressionlessly, "I don't know what you did to my sister." Jun Haotian walked step by step towards Xiang Holy Sun. With one step, the river was about to reverse. In short, all of you will die today. At this moment, a vast and boundless killing intent swept through the sky. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.